All right, people. Like I said at the beginning of the show, every single day this month has been a powerful day. And I expect today to be no different, right? Today we're joined by a man whose life has moved through many worlds. From the council flats of Peckham Rye to the gold mines of Ghana. And in each of them, he's seen the same story told in different accents: power, privilege, and exploitation. He's a writer who's lived a full, layered, and super interesting life, right? One that has shaped his lens as both an author and a storyteller. His debut novel, Peckham Rye People, takes us on a tense journey that begins with a single phone call and spirals from London's underbelly to Ghana's golden soil. Right? Revealing how the same systems that built empire still breathe through our modern world. But our good brother isn't just writing to entertain the people, you know. You guys are going to see that today, right? Very well learned, man. He's writing to disturb the comfortable and comfort the disturbed. You know what I'm saying? Now living a life devoted to creativity and truth. Our good brother here uses his pen to expose what reality too often hides. He's a writer, he's a thinker, and he's a man that's determined not to be complicit in the systems he's seen. Please, ladies and gentlemen, welcome our good brother, Mr. Miles Prince.
I told you it was going to be good. I told you.
That's a big build-up.
You got to be chat GPT in that or something. That's not all you, is it? No, wicked. Welcome, man.
Yes,
Glad to have you here.
I'm feeling very grateful to be here.
Appreciate your presence.
Pleasure is all ours. I'm thinking of where best to start because, again, like your story is there's so many different places you can start, right?
Yep.
But I think maybe it would be more fitting if we started at the very beginning. Who is Miles Prince? And yeah, tell us a bit about your childhood.
Yeah. So I think, firstly, thank you so much. I'm very grateful to be here. And
I appreciate it.
You make me feel very optimistic.
Wicked.
I think two things that are relevant from the point of view of the book is that my mother is English, my father is Ghanaian. I grew up, when I came back from Ghana just before my 7th birthday, I grew up in a very big extended Ghanaian family in London. My father was, who passed 3 years ago. My father was, my father was, he was the head of that family. So a lot of it revolved around his personality. He was a very social, charismatic man. So I grew up with like people everywhere. So we started off in Peckham. I did my primary school in Peckham. And then we moved north to the Graham Park estate in Colindale.
Okay.
And that's because his cousin was 100 meters down the road. And a lot of his family were there. So by the time I was 13, 14, we moved a bit further up the road. We lived with 100 meters of a cousin over here, another one over there. And I'm still very close to those people.
Right.
Some are in Ghana, some are here.
Okay.
So part of what I was trying to do with this book was to bring to life all of these first and second generation diasporal stories that were floating about this family. I was trying to work out how many of us there were. Maybe there's like 1,000 of us in the UK of this family. And so I'm trying to bring to life some of those challenges, some of those stories that just, were part of my experience growing up. So I think that's pretty relevant to this book.
Wicked.
So Peckham Rye basically is that foundation for you.
Yeah.
How have you seen Peckham Rye change from back then to now?
Yeah, well, I mentioned it in the book as well. Peckham has been on this. I grew up on the Rye Hill Estate, which overlooks Peckham Rye, and the book is set across London. But it starts in my main character, Joseph Wright, lives in the same council flat that I grew up in, overlooking Peckham Rye, and obviously you've got the usual London themes of gentrification, which are brought up in the book. Joseph's kind of girlfriend is an estate agent. And she's trying to make it by selling out bits of South London to a different clientele. So there's those themes of gentrification coming in, which I think we've all seen across London. But also there's still a huge amount of poverty. And it's definitely something I reflected upon from my childhood, is seeing some of the things I saw and the levels of poverty I saw are also described in the book. And the question is, The question for me is always why?
Why?
Why? So you've got these sort of different worlds coexisting as you always got in London, and I think that tension in Peckham is still, if anything, is far more than it was 40 years ago, 45 years ago when I was going to primary school there.
Okay.
Yeah.
What do you kind of? It's a bit of a side question here, but what do you kind of prioritize more, right? The culture of, for example, Peckham Rye, or maybe the standard of living in Peckham Rye. So with gentrification, that will, at least on paper, should change, right?
Yeah.
What's of more value to you?
To me personally, I think I don't really look at it like that. I look at it through the lens of who's there, who are the people there, and what do they want. It's not. I'm not a person for me to tell anybody what to think or do.
Yeah.
Mainly because I don't want to be told what to think or do, right?
Yeah. I hear that.
So listen to the people there and what they want. And I would say a lot of people, what do people want? They tend to want to have accommodation. They tend to want to have safety. They tend to want to have education. And anything that can deliver these things. Yeah. They want to have food that they can afford. Anything that delivers these things, fine. Yeah. And forces that make those things less accessible to the majority of people are things that we've got to question. They're forces that we have to question, in my opinion. So listen to what people want. So culture can be a reflection of an elite, and it can be a reflection of a mass. But what do the mass of people want? That's all I would go for if I was a policymaker. Yeah. If I was making up policies.
I heard that.
So I tried to find out some information about you on the internet, and I didn't really find any. And that, normally, that tells me that like either something's been wiped, right? You had an interesting life before you became an author, right? And I read somewhere that you spent like 20 years in the finance sector.
Is it?
Yeah. And then you became like a fund manager?
Yeah. So it's when I look back on it, it's almost like it never happened. With a sort of lens of memory. Let's start at the beginning. When I grew up in Ghana, the economy was in a really bad shape. It was probably post-independence, probably the worst time in the 70s. Whenever you see generals running a country, usually that's not ending up quite well for most of the population. And I remember there was no food on the shelves, right? There's no food. So I was actually brought out of Ghana because I was too thin, right? So we're talking about proper problem. So I think in my life, a lot of it's a series of questions. One of the questions I've always had is why? Why is this level of poverty? What lower incomes? Why are poor countries poor? So that was the kind of that was the kind of theme of my life. So I studied at university.
Okay.
And then, as ever, you come out of uni and you think, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
Quick, sorry to cut. What exactly did you study?
I studied my first degree. I went to the London School of Economics. My first degree was in economics with economic development.
Come on.
Okay.
And then my second degree, I became more mainstream. I did a master's there. I did a more mainstream economics, mathematical economics. And then I got into the PhD program. So I was teaching there when I was 23.
Wow.
And I had a teaching school. I had no money. So they gave me a teaching scholarship,
Nice.
which was £5,000 a year. I remember it. Wow. Wasn't enough to live. And so I left after the first year of the PhD because I thought that economics...
Not feasible.
Well, it wasn't just that. I could have done other things. Economics was not answering the questions that I had to ask.
Okay.
Economics is just it's just like an intellectual game. It wasn't answering the questions. Why are these countries poor? Why are there? What has happened to these countries to make us? So then I looked around and I thought, what am I going to do? My father was saying, well, you got to earn some money because we've got no money.
Yeah.
So I thought, just like everybody else, let's go to the city.
Yeah.
See what's happening there. And I spent 10 years being totally confused, walking around, thinking, what the hell is this place? It's not run for anybody other than the elite private school people that, I was just confused. That's all I can explain it as. When I do talks to younger people about the finance industry, they all want to talk about day trading. I show them a picture of all the big buildings You know, like those big towers. And
Yeah,
I
yeah,
say
yeah.
to them, who's paying for that, do you think?
Oh.
Who's paying for that? Who's paying for that? Who do you think's paying for that? I said, it's you. You're paying for it. Your parents' pension is paying for that. Yeah.
Seriously?
The revenues that are funding that rent for those buildings. It's you. It's everybody. Right?
Is it?
Yes.
But they make millions and billions there. don't
Off
they?
Of our money.
essentially the
So
job.
they can afford their own rent, can't they? Surely.
but the question is, do they need those big buildings? You know, so you are paying for all that stuff.
Okay.
You will be paying for it, and you are paying for it. So I was very confused by the city for about 10 years. Didn't get anywhere. And luckily, I got a job. I had to go and live in Scotland for a long time. And I got a job, my second job really, and that was a completely different mindset. It wasn't, as I said, in the city, what I saw as an elite, essentially just screaming money off of everybody for themselves, and that's basically what it is today, and that's what it was. I went up to Scotland and worked. It's so-called emerging markets. I worked for a different people with a different philosophy, and you might be. Haven't met many like that before or since, but the idea was that actually it's people's hard-earned money, and you've got to put them first. It sounds glib, and I was surprised at the extent of it. But so I spent 15 years there doing that.
Okay.
When you say doing that, what is the doing of that?
I was looking after people's pensions.
Yeah.
I mean, if you would have spoken to me 10 years ago, maybe I was like one of the most. I was pretty well-known fund manager. I was looking after people's pension, investing in lower-income countries, Latin America, Africa, Asia, and my job was really to talk to the people that run all those companies, and to talk to them about anything I wanted to talk to them about, to decide whether I could put people's money in for the long term.
Yeah.
And that was, you see, that comes out of the idea of thinking about lower incomes and why, how capitalism's producing these terrible outcomes. So I did that for a long time. I left about 7 years ago. I left that business 7 years ago.
Wow.
How do you look back on that time? Positive experience.
I think it was there was a lot of richness to it. I'd say my time in the city was a very lonely and difficult time. There weren't many people that came from my background who looked like me there.
Okay.
But after I left the city of London, it became a lot more positive. Got married, had children, did all that, did all the things that you do, and actually going up to Scotland was a very interesting thing because you could actually have different discussions. So, for example, I remember I was in my first. I just arrived in Scotland, worked for this firm, and I was there for a long time. And I'm sitting there. They had this thing called Burns Night Supper.
Bird.
Robbie Burns.
Okay.
It's a great sort of Scottish patriot, and they celebrate him once a year. So I'm sitting next to this guy, and I say to him, one of my new colleagues, and he starts talking about slavery. I said to him, I don't want to hear about slavery from you. 'Cause you guys are all over it, right?
Yeah.
The Scottish people, you're all over it. You don't understand this thing. And he said, he says to me, he says, we were all over it.
Oh, yeah.
But we do understand it because before they done it to you, they done it to us.
Oh.
They did it to us hundreds of years before they done it to you. So you can see that's a different mind. I could never have that discussion with anybody in down London in the city, but I was able to feel more at home because I could actually question those things. So Scotland was a much more positive experience. Ultimately, though, I've only taken a couple of things out of my career. One is, I think, a lot of the activity that you see in finance shouldn't exist.
Give me an example.
The real issue is how much are people being paid for what they're doing.
Yeah.
Everybody says they want to get into finance. Why does everybody want to get into finance?
Yeah.
Why?
Money.
Yeah, because they know they're going to get paid more than they deserve.
Yeah.
Right?
Some
It's
of the
not doing
bonus.
it's not doing everybody else any good, right? Because you're taking too much of the pie. So, and this is something that is understood by people inside the city, and their job is to try and keep it
that way.
keep it that way. So there's a whole set of activities that are being overpaid. There's another set of activities that you might call going to the casino, trading. So people are being paid money to gamble with your money.
Yeah.
So they're basically going to the casino
With your
and they're getting paid. And if it works out, they get paid even more. And if they lose it all, what happens? So there's a whole sort of casino type activity that I think should not be allowed to come back and shouldn't exist, because it's not doing anybody any good. Because when a thing blows up, everybody has to pay for it. The final bit I would think about is, and I'm very interested in history, because I think history is a wonderful thing. It lives with us now. Is that when you start looking at the history of finance in this country, you actually realize, and this is what the book's about. You realize why Britain is so dominated by the financial industry.
Yeah.
So like Germany isn't, right?
Yeah.
So other European countries, France, these are not dominated by one thing, which is basically buying and selling. So that's all it is, right? Taking a cut in between. So you realize that the institutions of financial industry in this country have been here since the Romans. And they are the oldest, most powerful institutions in this country.
Yeah.
And you start to realize why this country is what it is, and why it has been bent to the will of certain interests, and probably still is.
So what's your view? In fact, I do want to ask you questions about everything you said earlier about the economics and stuff.
Sure.
Because I'm somebody who I love economics, right?
Yeah.
And hearing you talk is beautiful, because I know you know what you're talking about, right? But I guess for me, when you first said that economics didn't hold the answers, is that because of modern economics and more so the focus on finance, or do you go back historically to like political economy?
Yeah.
People like John Stuart Mill and stuff, where it's
Got
a bit
you.
more holistic.
Yeah, I've got you. Let me just ask a few questions and then just see. So the questions that interest me is why do we have racism? Why do we have poverty in a country that's rich? Why is our African economies unable to develop?
Yeah.
So let's take the African economies unable to develop. What economic model exists to explain that to me? There isn't one.
Yeah.
Economics is just a set of mathematical stuff, and there isn't one. What is so? I always say to people that when you're having a debate with somebody, define your toolkit.
Yeah.
Define the toolkit you want to use.
Yeah.
And a lot of disagreements in the world and misunderstandings is that we don't actually understand what toolkit we're using. I much prefer to look at, and the toolkit I find more useful to address these issues is the toolkit of history. Let's look at the history of why slavery happened.
Yeah.
Let's look at the history of colonialism and neocolonialism. So that whole toolkit is very, very useful to me to understand this stuff.
Yeah.
Economics doesn't help me there, and I just found that it didn't really help me understand it. It didn't help me understand why we've got why the Sani Abachas of the world exist. For example, Sani Abacha was the general who ran Nigeria, probably killed by the CIA, reportedly, and they found billions of dollars of his family's wealth afterwards in the UK banking system.
Whoa.
Right? So what is that all about? What is all that? That's not an economic description. That's a historical description. So I think the toolkit for me, history, and you called it political economy, but history and politics are more useful to me to understand the way the world is today than the toolkit that the economists have, which is very mathematical.
I think I agree with that.
Yeah.
And I think this is the reason why I kind of went back to the whole political economy thing.
Yeah.
I think that was more holistic.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? And you get you're able to see the world, like you said, through a historical lens.
Yeah.
And then you can actually connect the dots. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? But today it seems far more mathematical, finance, and that's it. Surface level stuff.
Yeah. And part of that is because it produces a jargon which excludes people, which enables the scam to continue.
Yeah.
So if I say a bunch of fancy words that sound mathematical, then I can keep taking that fee off of you.
Yeah.
And you'll just, you know what I mean? So that's part of the scam. Is that so the economics departments of the world are producing this jargon. And I question why they do that.
Yeah.
And I think it's part of it.
So when you said that you moved up north, obviously I don't want to put a jacket on you don't want to
No,
wear,
please,
right? But would you say that you became a socialist? Or do you not subscribe to that school of thought?
Again, a lot of things in life confuse me greatly. I don't think I'm a socialist, and I don't think I'm right wing. I think
It's a middle ground.
there's things I like about socialism,
Exactly.
and there's things that I have some empathy with what the right wing says, although less. What I tend to think about is this word empathy, and which one, because I've had a broad experience of poverty, which political movement, which political philosophy encompasses having empathy for other people's experience. Which one is more like that? And certainly, I find more empathy
Yeah.
on the left than I do on the right. And this is something that interests me because, and it's something that class is very important in the book.
Yeah.
And there's a group of people. Now, I was married to one of these people, which is they're sitting in West Africa, in Nigeria often. At the age of 8 or 9, they are taken out of Nigeria and they're put in a boarding school,
Yeah.
an elitist boarding school in the UK, where they are subject to God knows what. The trauma of all that I can only imagine because it never happened to me. And then they're sort of spat out after the A-levels. So these people really interest me. I've known some of them, and I was married to one of them, because is class more important than race for them? And I was once at a thing with a very good friend of my former wife's, and he said to me, "Race don't mean anything to me. He's Nigerian. Class is the only thing that matters." And I got so offended.
How dare you?
I was like, what the hell is this? But from his perspective, class was more important. What he was saying was that I'm in the game.
Literally. Yeah.
So what empathy does he have for me sitting in my council flat with all the concerns that I've... So
Get
it's a
your class
question.
up. Yeah,
It's a question. So that's what I try and raise in the book as well. Is this sort of this complexity between class and race? So I
Sorry to detour a bit. Is there any parallels between you and your wife and Joseph and the estate agent?
Not really, because so Joseph's got his partner. She comes from where he comes from.
Okay.
She's just trying to.
Okay.
She's on the make. She's trying to climb the ladder. By using this sort of property thing that's going on in South London.
Yeah.
But they're both from the same place.
Okay.
They both went to the same schools. So it's an interesting point.
Can we just give them a couple examples of what from the right you basically take?
Yes.
Is it a conservative?
No. I think I don't even know if it's right. The idea of freedom and the idea that I should be able to determine my own outcome seems to be more available there, but not totally though. Let's face it, because freedom, if you don't have the opportunity, there's no point. You don't have freedom. You don't have access to even decent nutrition when you're a kid, or even a decent school. I mean, the school I went to in Peckham was falling to bits, right? Still there. Some old Victorian building. I remember the toilets were outside. In winter, you just go outside.
Right.
Your outside toilet is like -5. You're like,
Tough times, boy.
Yeah. It's just, the structure, even the basic infrastructure wasn't there. So I think this idea maybe of freedom, and maybe sometimes the only issue I have with people on the left is that they think that they know better what's good for people than the people themselves.
Thank you.
And that, for me, that's a bit of a problem. But generally, I end up on the left every time.
Because of the empathy in you.
Because of this issue of empathy. You've got to, you don't have to do anything. For me, it's useful to try and have empathy for everyone and try and have empathy for other people's positions. For me, that's what it means to be civilization. It's for me personally, that's an important thing. I don't find much empathy on the right. I find people that just have lived quite a narrow life, usually telling other people, be like me.
Yeah.
Basically. And what if I don't want to be like you? What if I'm not like you?
Yeah.
So, I tend to end up on the left.
Question, Emmanuel. When I hear right wing, I don't really see like right too tough. I see racist.
Yeah.
And that's an issue.
So I like to say conservative instead of just right wing.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to make sure that people didn't think that you were a little.
Oh, was
Little
it?
racist.
Yeah.
Okay,
Because when you
okay,
get right
okay.
wing, because I want to clip stuff up, So,
Yeah.
I want,
No,
I want
That's
context.
that's the last thing.
Yeah, I like the freedom stuff.
Yeah.
And that's one of the things I always say to people. Like, I know people want to kind of put me into that bracket of you're a right winger.
It's happened in the chat. Really.
There you go. But everything you're saying, I think I've echoed over the years on this platform. That on the right you get freedom. I don't see how any government body can use my money better than me. You don't know me, and you basically articulated that perfectly.
Yeah.
That the left seems to know the answers to everything.
Mm.
You don't know me though, and giving everybody the opportunity to be free to do something, to me, is the best way to regulate things. But like you rightly said, sometimes you have the illusion of freedom. Do you get what I'm saying? And this is where I guess you get the intersection of race and class. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's a really interesting point.
Yeah, I think it's quite. I think in an ideal world, it would be perfect that we could all have freedom and we could.
Ideal word.
Yeah,
But not the real world.
Well, there's always the problem is there's always vested interest. There's always people with more power lobbying the whole time, and in this country, which is what I'm slightly trying to expose or partly trying to expose in this book, that has been the financial industry for 2,000 years maybe.
You lot have made me realise I think I'm a bit classist,
Why say that?
Because I feel like some people, like, they have, like, Gucci sliders and a 100-inch TV complaining about poverty. And I'm like, you're in a bad place due to your own decisions. If someone else was making better decisions for me, you might be in a better position.
But I think you're right though. Like it's not good to obviously do a blanket broad stroke situation, but the reality is I think that's why some people lack the empathy, because they know I was also in the same council of flat as you, and I didn't buy the 100 screen TV. You know what I'm saying? I didn't do those things. I tightened my belt and I made particular decisions. And yes, I may never get to up here because of race, because of certain things, or I may be the symbolic person they allow through, right? But I'm still better off than where you are because of decisions I made. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
They take some sort of responsibility for their actions. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's why the lack of empathy kind of is in the air sometimes.
The thing is, like, I agree. I can see that position. Life is complicated, isn't it?
Yeah.
And if you'd have had the experiences that I had, maybe you'd have made the decisions that I had.
Yeah.
So whenever I do it all the time, whenever I'm tempted to judge somebody else for the decisions they're making, just look at myself. Look at
look
the decisions I've made in my life. So there's been a lot of bad ones. So but yeah, I can see exactly what you mean.
Yeah.
And I like what you said as well, because you said there's some things from here that I like, some things from here. So it's not always red or blue. It's purple. It's not black or white. It's grey.
Exactly.
Because if you're all the way one thing, it's a bit ignorant. Because nothing's 100% correct, I suppose.
Yeah. And that's the issue. I think people become very dogmatic in it and just want to defend a particular position because you're on that position.
Yeah.
And obviously not to make this about myself at all, but I think that's what I try to do. Like, I know that historically black people, we've just been tethered to the Labour Party, right, for years. And I have an issue with that. I really do, because you just accept and expect my vote. But you ain't done nothing for me. So I think we should look at the other side and kind of see
to get them in gear.
You know what I'm saying? And see if there's anything that could be taken on from any sort of political party that can benefit us. Because we're the only ones who can really have our own self-interest, you know what I'm saying, and do something with it.
Especially if we don't have our own party.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So...
And when you say nothing for you, you mean whatever it is that the policies they roll out, it just benefits you, but they didn't set out to basically benefit you. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, 100%. We are never in mind.
Okay.
We're never in mind. And because of that, there's some decisions that, when made on the surface, may include us, but can also harm us. So, for example, some of us being in situations where, of course, single-parent households and stuff, you would want a welfare system that helps that. But then, if you don't understand the culture and understand certain things, certain initiatives can incentivize a particular culture that holds us back. So now we find ourselves in situations where half of us come from households where there's no dad in the house. There's no dad in the house. We are already
Yeah.
on the wrong trajectory.
You're at a disadvantage.
Already. Do you get what I'm saying? I'm not necessarily saying, of course, this may go into the whole conspiratorial area, right? I'm not saying they're necessarily saying, okay, cool, let's take the black man out of the black family. I'm not necessarily saying that. But there's certain things that I think we should prioritize, and we shouldn't look at a particular party. This is why I always say, I'm not red, I'm not blue, I'm black. You know what I'm saying? And that's what we need to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it's so difficult to untether my brain from what it is they did with the Windrush people.
Of course.
It's difficult for me
Yeah.
to just do that and say, all right, cool, your policies may help me. And then say, all right, cool, I'll vote for Conservative. I would rather not vote Labour if, again, they're not looking to take us into account to put this in mind. But go for the party in which is and that doesn't mean the Conservative or Labour.
100%.
It could be the other one.
Yes, indeed.
So I wouldn't spend my time propping up the Conservatives because the particular policies that they are running through is going to somehow trickle down to benefit me. I would spend my time propping up the other party. Do you understand?
I hear what you're saying.
I'm saying all of that only because this is an issue I have with you.
Of course.
You understand? So I hear you saying it because you always come back to say, I'm not saying focus on one particular party because none of them care for us. I know you keep saying that.
Yeah.
But you spend a lot of time looking to say, Kemi would never.
All right.
Sunak would never.
Yeah. And you're right. I don't think I've said that with Kemi though, but you're right. I understand what you're saying. And remember, I voted for George Galloway's party. So I understand what you're saying. But my thing is, I knew George Galloway wasn't going to win. Do you get what I'm saying? And sometimes we have to vote strategically. And I would rather have a party that, even though they don't care about me, will put something in place that I can benefit from. I know that a lot of our people care about getting on the property ladder. Why do I vote for a party that's going to increase stamp duty and make it harder for us? Why am I, if I know ownership is key and we need to be entrepreneurial, I'm going to vote for a party that's going to increase corporation tax. That's going to make it hard for me to start a business that I could potentially hire more black people.
All of that is nice. All of that is nice, right?
It's a practical...
All of that is nice. But if you were asked to prioritize, what is most important to you? That they come on TV and tell you you're a nigger and they see you as a nigger, whilst also having those policies that you say are beneficial to you?
Yeah.
Would you go on a pulpit and tell your friends, your family, your community, still vote for them?
I think they tell me...
Strategically, come on, it's going to benefit them.
I hear what you're saying, but I think you tell me that I'm a nigger when you allow the judiciary system to put more of our people in prison.
I asked you a pointed
It's
question.
the same thing, though.
I asked
To
you
me,
a
it's the
pointed
same thing.
because you're still going back to Labour.
No, the reason why I'm saying that is because nobody's come on TV and said you're a nigger. So you're speaking...
Kemi has. 120%. No, and you know full well I'm not talking about
120 is
her
crazy.
specifically using those particular words.
That's what I'm saying to you.
There are different ways to basically say the same thing.
Precisely. And I think both parties say the same thing today.
Again, you're still focusing on Labour stuff. I'm not
focused on
I'm
Labour.
not telling you that because I'm not pushing up Labour. You
And
are
I'm not
pushing up Conservatives.
No, I'm
Don't
not.
tell me you're not.
I'm not.
Do not
Don't
tell
tell
me.
me.
I am pushing up any political decision that's going to make economics the number one thing. And that's because I come from that school of thought.
And that's why I asked you the question about what is most important to you.
Yes.
Do you understand?
Yeah.
Because the Conservative government, from your particular lens, is always going to give you that flavour that you think is going to benefit black people in the long run, right? 12, how many years were they in power?
13.
13, sorry.
Yeah.
And did they help us? In a manner which is that you're saying that they will. Because as soon as Labour got in power, you're like, yo, look at Rachel Reeves. Look at this people.
What did I do?
No. Straight away you were on them.
That's not true.
120%. Anything that happens that, well, first of all, you had been saying this guy is lying, right?
Kisama.
He's more,
And I was right.
He's more centre, but nobody was pushing back. I was telling you that yes, I know
Okay.
he's saying what he's saying in order to get in power,
Yeah.
and I was even saying that he looks more conservative than he looks.
Yeah, I remember you saying that.
Yeah. So him doing certain things, it wasn't surprising to you. It wasn't surprising to you.
Okay.
100%, because you had forewarned this.
Mm.
But now you see that they have to do certain things in order to rebalance,
Yeah.
right, or counteract the 12 to 13 years.
Yeah.
There's no grace being given. In fact, every single slight, again this morning, you point out look at the wickedness that they're doing. Can you imagine? But whilst Conservative was in power, you weren't doing that.
All right, so let me correct something. That's because that's absolutely not true, right? When Labour took over, I said I don't know how they're going to do this.
Thank you.
But when Rachel Reeves was making certain things, I bigged her up. And I said, right, I hope she's successful in what she does. I said that why? Because I will be affected by it. I don't care who's in office. I care about how it translates to me and my community. So I said, and I still say, right, I hope Labour prove me wrong. I want to be wrong, right? But when Rachel Reeves started out, before she took office, and like in the first few, weeks or whatever, it seemed like she had a grip on certain things. She knew what she was doing. Now there's been so much pressure, and now she's capitulated, and now she's doing everything that they said they wouldn't do. They said there'll be no increased taxes for working people. Keir Starmer, our PM, couldn't define working people. From when you can't define it, I know you shouldn't be there.
Hey,
Secondly, hold on.
whilst Boris Johnson was at the helm,
Yeah.
he was saying hella dunce.
That's fine.
And you weren't looking to say, oh, you can't do this, that, and the next, right? You were like, nah, he's a strong man.
We're talking
I
about...
like the gumption of him.
No. Boris Johnson was the incumbent PM. We're talking about somebody who wants to replace somebody.
Oh,
So what we're doing is, I said this, right? Tories were in government for 13 years. They did a bad job, 100%. We were living through it, right? But I kept saying, it can be worse. It can be worse. And my thing is this,
and
right?
now you're saying we're living in the West.
Of course we are.
Again?
Now, again, remember, it's only
How many
been...
years in?
Listen, wait. It's only been a year and a few months. I know this, right? And again, I want to be wrong. And in fact, things will obviously change and whatever, yeah? And hopefully things regulate and Labour can get on track. But I don't agree with a lot of their economic stances. So I'm not that optimistic about it. But I hope I am wrong.
Wait,
and my thing...
sorry. If the
Mike.
Tories had stayed,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, if the Tories had stayed, would it have been worse?
From my perspective,
He was saying
financially...
he was saying they were the only party that could get them out of the mess in which it is that they created. That's what.
And this is the problem. We always say they. They had 4 different PMs. Rishi Sunak is an economist.
And they cycle through all of them.
I'm not going to say he's a great PM or whatever, but he brought inflation down. I give credit where it's due. I'm not saying like the man. I don't know him to like him, but he brought it down. It's up now.
So you do believe if Sunak was given...
I think he would have sorted out the economy.
Okay.
That's what I think. I think the economy will be in a better position today than it is now. That's personally what I believe.
It's wonderful.
There's other things that go into governing a country, though. I'm just saying, me, Emmanuel, though, I prioritize economics.
Yeah, we know.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
We know.
That's me. That could be wrong, depending on who you are. But with regards to the economy, I believe Sunak had better ideas. And I think he showed and proved that with his time in office when he brought it down to 2%. Now it's, I believe, 3.7%. Now, in November, I will be telling you guys, using this microphone, that more money will be coming out of your pockets. I'll be telling you this in November,
Well,
guaranteed.
We had a couple of financial advisors come through and say the same thing. You're not really looking to be like, oh, told you so.
No, but I said it before they came.
No,
But it doesn't
no,
matter.
come on.
Again, I'm not trying to take any credit.
Everybody's
clear
been
to
saying
see.
it. Everybody's
Okay.
been
It's
saying
clear to
it.
see.
Everybody's
Okay.
been saying
Definitely,
it.
definitely.
Everybody's been saying it. Pizza mango. Question.
But remember, let's not stay too long in this. because
This is
I
the
wanna
last question I'm asking.
Okay, good. Good.
God damn it.
It's
Are we gonna hear any more cheerleading for Kemi from East Side?
You're so
Because when she came into power, you were like, come on, Kemi!
All
My
right.
Nigerian sister.
For context, I said this before. I said this before, almost verbatim. I know I'm biased. I love Yoruba people. If I see a Yoruba person doing well, I'm going to big you up.
But you're Ghanaian, bro.
That is true indeed.
going on there?
I've got a Ghanaian passport. Pick up the Ghanaians out there, right?
thanks.
But whenever I say Yoruba person, I feel the connection, right?
Mhm.
Do you
Of course.
still feel the connection?
To be fair, she's basically telling us she's not a Yoruba person, and she would wish she's not.
But she
So the
doesn't know
connection
any
is not
better.
there, right? But remember, my biggest point with Kemi was the fact that I felt, again, my whole thing is I'm not this side, not red or blue. I'm not Republican or Democrat. I'm black first. And my thing was, if you think Barack Obama was good for us, because he was the first black PM,
Insane.
president, why the hell are you not using that same standard for Kemi, who could be potentially the first black PM in this country?
You're not talking to me.
That's what I was saying to the people.
Okay.
Right? So I said, don't use that. That's not a metric I operate on at all. You know what I'm saying? So that was the rationale behind my diatribe and whatnot.
That makes sense, though.
Of course it does.
Because economics is something you understand, so you basing your decision on that makes sense to me,
And this
even though I'm not the most political person.
And this is why I'm loving what our good brother here is saying, because I know there's an understanding there, even though we may disagree on maybe how to do particular things. Because, like you said, it's coming from the empathy side. You know what I'm saying? I guess for me,
You don't have that empathy that he's talking about, I think. You're
You
just
was
like,
traveling, you didn't hear.
I heard every single word of it.
I have empathy. I really do. I love black people, man.
You see?
100%.
Well framed.
That's my priority.
Very well framed.
All right, thank you.
Very well
I
framed.
guess part of what I'm trying to get at is that I agree that there are changes, there are differences between the two parties, less now, but there's something else going on in this
Yeah,
country.
exactly.
There's another layer of thousands of years of history, monarchy, and the financial industry that is actually the problem. So
Wow, that's
we
happening.
can.
Yeah,
this
exactly.
stuff is. I agree. These debates are very valid, but actually, there's something else going on in this country, and the way to think about that is to look at the true history of this country. I'll give you another example.
Yes, please.
Why are all the offshore centers in the Caribbean?
Caribbean.
Because that's what the guys in the city owned the slave plantations there. When slavery was supposedly banned, they looked around and thought, "What the hell are we going to do?" What British Virgin Islands? What the hell's that about? Why all these companies? And what is all that about?
Yeah.
So there's another thing going on
Yeah.
underneath all of this, and it's about essentially money and power. And the monarchy was in joint venture with the city,
Yeah.
as I tried to show in this book,
Yeah.
to fund transatlantic slavery. They
Right.
gave a monopoly
Yeah.
to the Royal African Company.
Yeah.
Charles II. We're in Charles III now, right? So he's named after the guy that did it, right? This one.
Yep.
They gave a monopoly with the City of London,
Yeah.
which I call the Royal Africa capital. So these people have been here for hundreds of years, and that is what is really determining outcomes in this country. Politicians, yes, they can come and go, but actually, there's something else going on in this country.
How far or how deep do you go with that though?
Yeah.
Because as I'm pretty sure you know that there are particular families who have financed particular countries.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Finance both sides of a war.
yeah.
So whoever wins,
Yes, yes.
you know what I'm saying?
What type of families?
The Rothschild family.
All right.
Yeah.
Right? The Rothschild family. Right? So how far do we go? Because obviously the Rothschilds weren't British. You know, at least the first generation, the first guy, right?
Yeah.
Maya was Rothschild. So how far do you go with this?
It depends what you're trying to do.
Okay.
But,
All right.
I think that just acknowledging that there are these other spheres of power
Yeah.
who actually don't want to be exposed.
At all.
That's the whole beauty of it.
Yeah.
They want to sit behind. Acknowledging that, I think, is for me is quite useful in
Why?
understanding what's really going on. Because I ask the questions why. Why do we have the outcomes that we have in this country? Why is such a rich country? Why does it have so much poverty?
Yeah.
And when you start to unpick the history of it, it's about the major power centers, which is the financial industry, which is very, very unbalanced in this country, interacting with the elite. They funded a lot of the private schools in this country were funded by the City of London.
Yeah.
So it's everywhere. So why do we have these really strange outcomes?
But when we question these things, then with that information, what are we supposed to do with this?
Yeah, that's an interesting one. I think there's different layers to it, but I think the first thing is just bringing it to light, because then everybody has the information to make decisions. And when you hear people like politicians talking about things, and they're telling you that this is why this is happening, you have a different reference point to say, actually, that's not true.
Yeah.
This is why this is why it's happening. That may cause you to vote for different people, for example, in the democratic system. It may cause you to, in your personal life, it may cause you to take a different path in terms of who you want to work for and who you don't want to work for. And so I think it can inform quite important decisions about your life.
From experience or like hypothetically,
Yeah.
when people ask these types of questions, do they end up in suitcases?
So one of the reasons that I have a pen name. So by the way, I'm 54. I'm healthy. I exercise a lot.
That's right.
If I die of a heart attack in the next year,
God forbid. Don't worry, my Balawa is effective.
come on the show and say why. Right?
We'll protect
So one of the reasons I had a pen name is because I was running a financial company I was involved in running it for many years, and I had one meeting that scared the hell out of me.
Come on.
It was up in Scotland, and it was the new Cameron government, and it was after the financial crisis. So we'd done very well because we thought it was too much risk, and we thought we couldn't do it. So we were trying to say to the new government, you've got to curtail the power of the financial industry.
Yeah.
Because look what it's just done. It's just the whole thing's just fallen down, and everybody's had to pay for it. So we had a cabinet minister up. And it's the only time I don't like getting involved with politicians. The only time, and he sat across the table from me, and he said, "I said so." And he was a person who was going to try and do this because it was clear that the financial industry had blown things up. And he said, "You don't realize how powerful they are. I've just lost my job." He came out of the government 6 months later. He looked me in the eye, and this is a cabinet man. He said, "You don't know how powerful they are." So the answer is, the people that invented transatlantic slavery are very, very serious people, and so yeah, I think it's a very valid question. I don't know the answer, but I think it's valid, and you should be scared because this power has been being exercised for hundreds, if not thousands, of years in this country.
Because what's the alternative, you reckon?
To the alternative to
Like
not being nosy into things that you shouldn't be looking at.
in terms of like progress, like what's the alternative?
I don't know. I feel like maybe. I feel like we were talking about it yesterday and like throughout this month, really, about kind of like maybe doing our own thing very quietly, maybe, so that we don't have to.
Yeah.
Miles is laughing at you, man.
No, I think that's right. I think it's very powerful. The other thing, as somebody with West African heritage, is that this is not just affecting Britain.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
affects the history of West Africa.
Yeah.
100%.
And it affects what's happening now. In Burkina Faso, for example,
Yeah.
this leader is trying to stand up to it. There was a guy called Thomas Sankara before who tried. They got rid of him, right? So it's clearly affecting the outcomes in places like...
We had his son on here.
Really? Oh, fantastic. So it's clearly affecting not just the opposition here, but it's affecting what's going on there. And again, this is why in the book, it's a multinational enterprise that's doing this. So...
What do you think? Like in the book, you do explore Africa as well as the UK.
Yeah.
So what do you think is the difference between the kind of economy and how things are operating there to how things are working there? Because a lot of people think like, I'm Nigerian, and a lot of people think Nigeria's never going to be great again because they're so corrupt and all of this kind of stuff. So what are your views on that?
So I talked about the toolkit. And so let me be explicit. The toolkit that I found most useful for understanding these things often has a kind of Marxist leaning to it, not because I'm a Marxist,
Yeah.
because the idea of class
Yeah.
and how classes perpetuate themselves comes from him and other people after that.
What do Marxists believe?
Yeah, I think, the underlying idea of Marx is to, from what I read, was to create a pattern and to explain history as a pattern of class warfare. Okay. I don't think that's useful in some senses. In another sense, it's not. I spent my life wondering why poor countries are poor, and I know the answer. I think I know the answer. It's because the elite in those. There's no such thing as a poor country. You go to the poorest country in the world, you'll find 5 families living large, really with lots of money, right? So what it is the proportion of poor people in each country.
Yeah.
Really. So the answer is that the elite in each of those countries, and I'm not just talking about Africa, I'm talking about Asia, Latin America, the top 5% have decided that they want it that way, that they're not going to give away more to everybody else. And so that's what I feel is going on. So in a country like Nigeria, the top 1% have said that's it. So in the book, this is a factual book. It's historical, it's fiction, but there's fact in it.
Yeah.
Nigeria, there was a key point, December 2013, when Lamido Sanusi, the central bank governor who I have met, because he was a banker before, he's an elite. He became the Emir of Kano. He says, he writes a letter to Goodluck Jonathan saying, where's $50 billion gone?
Yeah.
Because I'm the central bank governor and I haven't seen it in the accounts.
Yeah.
This is somebody in the elite calling it out, saying we have to change things.
Yeah.
He's far from perfect, but
Yeah.
they immediately fired him.
Yeah.
Right? He was immediate.
Yeah.
Ever since that moment, Nigeria has been on a trajectory of, well, and hopefully Tinubu can change it, but it's been on a trajectory that hasn't been positive for the majority of people in Nigeria.
Wasn't he the head of a particular bank at the time?
He was a banker before he became a
yeah.
central banker. So I met him when he was a banker.
Okay.
With his bow tie, and he's a very, he's
guy,
a very
Sorry.
impressive individual. And none of us are perfect.
Yeah.
But for me, that was a crucial point because it's somebody on the inside, because of who he is, and the family is saying we've got to stop this. So I think that shows you that the elite knows what they're doing in Nigeria. In Ghana, I think it's been slightly, until the last government, it's been slightly, there's been a slightly broader, it's been a slightly, until the last government, where it began to look like it was a much narrower group of people taking. So I think core countries are core because essentially the elite in each of those countries decides that that's what they want. For various reasons.
Would it not be more beneficial for the elites to make the country more prosperous? Than
You
to
would have
have
thought
that
so,
disparity?
right? You would have thought so. So this is where the sort of neo-colonial aspect comes in. And what it means is that you potentially, and I'm not one of these people, so I don't know, but it means that potentially that you don't have to have healthcare in the country that you're in. You can come to Harley Street.
Yep.
You can go to Switzerland or South Africa. Your kids don't have to go to school in this country.
Yeah.
We'll send them abroad. And London's business model for hundreds of years has been elites bring your cash here.
Yeah.
Bring everything. Bring it here. So again, you can see how this whole business model is acting against our interest.
Yeah.
And that is actually the explicit business model.
Yeah.
You walk around Mayfair, you see these little blue plaques.
Yeah.
And some of the people why is Mayfair Mayfair? Mayfair is Mayfair because it's next to Buckingham Palace. Because originally it was, if you were a deposed aristocrat, like if the French aristocracy, you came to London, we'll have you.
Yeah.
Bring your everything, and we'll give you a nice suit. You can go off and see your mate. And so the business model has always been elites come and bring your cash. It's not. We talk about the Russians, the Russians. That was always the business model.
Yeah.
So that's not, that allows people to leave, and it allows the capital to leave. Oh, and by the way, we'll put your kids in this school, and then we'll make them more British in some sense.
Yeah, that's definitely.
And then they can go back and carry on.
Yeah.
So carry on this sort of exploitative relationship. So I think these things do.
Is your approach more so reform or just abolish the system? The reason why I say that is because I'm pretty sure you know the book Why Nations Fail, right?
Yeah.
And I believe might be the first or second chapter. They give an example of Mexico.
Yes.
Where they're talking about the elites and how, because they were in control on certain things they were doing, right?
Yeah.
That's what really led to the economy not doing well. But when they gave more freedoms to people, it allowed people to kind of do certain things for itself. I mention that because it was more so about the government and the choices the government's made. The elites are on both sides, right? So you're going to have the elites who are pro-Labour, for example, just to use the UK, and pro-Conservative. So I feel like you're going to get, I don't know, just various different manifestations of the same thing, unless we're throwing everything out. So what's your sort of idea?
I have far less grand ambitions.
Yeah.
My grand ambition is to shed a light on a certain point of view
Yeah.
with using a certain toolkit, history, and we haven't even talked about trauma or masculinity, but history, and just to shed a light on the system, because I come from there aren't many people like me who've been able to witness the things that I've seen. I actually just want to write a very good detective novel too. And maybe to chip away at some of the ideas underlying this system.
Yeah.
And that's my ambition is much
Yeah.
smaller.
Yeah.
I think a lot of my 20s were quite lonely, and because for many reasons, but one of the things that kept me going was a guy called Walter Mosley, who's an African American author, and all the books I read at school were, Shakespeare.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm not saying it's
resonate.
not great. I'm not saying it doesn't have. Of course, it's got huge artistic merit, but it's got no relevance to me.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
started reading Walter Mosley when I was in my early 20s, and the way he was articulating the African American experience was it was like having a new friend. It was yes,
Yeah. Yeah.
yes, I could. So even just that, if that is of use to somebody, I think for me that's a win. So I think my ambition is much less great. How would I solve this country's problems? There would be quite significant changes. I think the class system,
Yeah.
I would try to dismantle it in a number of different ways, starting with the top. And if you gave me that power, I would. I'm a Republican, so
Yeah.
I'd definitely get rid of that, or at least I'd try and shake that structure.
Yeah.
But I'm never going to have that opportunity. So, and maybe most people don't want it. So, in this country, I'm never going to have that opportunity.
What tell me?
Never say never.
I was going to ask something that's got nothing to do with like economy. So can I?
Yeah, for
Okay.
sure.
So within the book, you explore a lot of themes to do with like mother-son relationships.
Yeah.
So why was it important for you to do that? And is there, because I feel like this book reflects maybe a lot of your own history.
Yeah.
So what message were you trying to portray with this?
Yeah. So the first thing is a fictional book, but it's drawn from my experiences, my imaginings, people I've known, and the stories are kind of composite stories, and the characters are composite stories. So definitely Joseph Wright has a lot of overlap with my own experience. Most obviously, he's living in the Rye Hill estate where I grew up. Right? So although Peckham Rye itself is also a symbol for his mental, he's in an inner world. So I'm using the Rye as a symbol for what's going on inside his head. The other thing we haven't spoken about here is the idea of trauma and masculinity and vulnerability, and the set of tools that I found most useful from about the age of probably about 45, because I started thinking about it, and the set of ideas are ones around from psychology and psychotherapy. Some of them are useful, some are not. So on my personal journey, I certainly have looked at the traumas of, the real serious neglect actually that I suffered as a kid, and why that was determining the behaviors. For example, why was I so angry all the time? Why am I so angry all the time? So he has a discussion with Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe's basically angry all the time. His childhood was terrible in Ghana. It was terrible, right? So Kobe's saying, I'm angry because the white system is doing me in. Yeah, we know it is. But maybe you're angry for another reason too.
Yeah.
It's because your childhood was shit, bro.
Yeah.
Nobody looked after you. So I'm very interested in that, in trying to unpick that that process. And in that process, the relationship of the child to the mother is very, very important.
Yeah.
To forming a secure sort of individual. And so that's why it's very much about mother. I think there's a mixed race angle to it. And the mixed race angle is, if you've a mixed race, the mixed race angle is, imagine a situation where your parent is in fact a racist. And so that's an interesting it's an interesting thing to explore as well. So you're a black child, but your parents actually are not a racist, either unconscious or conscious racist. Or you have family members that have, I've certainly had I didn't really deal much with my mother's side of my family, but partly it's because there was quite a bit of racism going on there. You know, being kicked down the stairs and called a nigger is
shit.
probably not so great, right?
Yeah.
When you're like 8 years old. So,
Shit.
so these things are quite interesting
Yeah.
to explore for me.
Sorry. You said you were kicked down the stairs and
Yeah.
called a nigger by your mother?
No, my mother's family.
Okay.
Yeah, a cousin.
All right.
Yeah. So you see that's an interesting thing to
Yeah,
explore.
very.
And also it's the system as well. So it's how the system operates at the aggregate level, but how it's operating at the personal level as well. And that's interesting for me.
Yeah.
And hopefully it's interesting for some other people, and it can be helpful to some other people.
Do you think there's a sense of like, because when you're mixed, you're raised by two people who are not what you are. So do you think there's like a sense of you don't belong anywhere?
I think it depends. It depends how you're brought up. So there's certainly, and it depends the family in which you're brought up. But it's more likely to be the case, I'd say, if you're kind of in the middle. I think the whole my children. I think the whole issue of this system and colorism is very interesting to me, because my children have got a lot darker skin than I do, and my boys especially. So I know that the system that tried to get me is going to get them more. It's going to try and get them more, and I know that for certain. And I've seen it already.
Yeah.
I see it when they got to about 8. Both boys started.
Is it?
Yeah, just the small things. You know?
Yeah, it's more subtle, isn't it?
It's very subtle. So I think that's an interesting thing to think about as well from my point of view, because it's the logic of the racism of the system.
You're using basically what Chinks just said about having parents who are not what you are, right?
Yeah.
Do you feel then that you maybe are not equipped to then give the necessary tools to a child that's not what you are
Yeah.
to then survive in a particular system?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. My father essentially spent my entire childhood saying they're going to come for you.
Yeah.
He was very left wing.
Yeah.
He was a socialist, old school socialist, from the Nkrumah
Yes.
tradition, really. So he spent his entire life saying they're going to come for you. And so I think some of that seeped in.
Yeah.
But actually, you know what? I'm grateful for that, because he was right.
Yeah.
It's just, how do they do it? Is it subtle on the
Yeah.
one? So I try not to make my especially my boys, I try not to make them paranoid, but to certainly want to give them a flavor of that this thing is not, people are, it's not, if you're feeling uncomfortable about something, you're justified.
Yeah.
They want you to think it's you, it's not you. So
Yep.
that's what I try to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
How early would you recommend a parent does that in terms of introducing? I know it will vary from
I
parent to
don't view
parent.
myself as a great parent. I've tried my best. For me, it was just when I started to see it happen.
Yeah.
So when I could see it, and I remember it happening to me. So when I started to see it, that's when at least there's somebody there that can say, look, this is what's going on. It's not you. It's not you.
Yeah.
And I know lots of black people, friends, have been through something similar. It's not you. They want you to think it's you.
Sure.
It's not you.
You mentioned masculinity.
Yeah.
The masculinity that you see on display today, are there anything that you see that you, one, have a problem with, and two, you make sure that your sons don't fall into that same?
Masculine is really interesting. The most interesting experience I had about it, and again, use this word toolkit, was I went to this event for like psychotherapists. I knew a psychotherapist very well, so she said, "Come along." So I went, all white people basically, but it was called Men on the Couch, and there was one speech in there where it examined masculinity, and I'm so glad I went. And the point that the speech made was that our concepts of masculinity are fashioned by what's been going on the last 5,000 years, basically war. War. So concepts of masculinity are linked to the idea that you're going to have to send boys off to do terrible things to people and have terrible things done to them.
Yeah.
And a lot of the construct of masculinity comes from this. And you're not going to be sending women off to do that. women don't benefit from this at all, as we know. So when I had that framework to think about it with, it allowed a lot of other ideas to prosper. And from a black point of view, the problem with it is that the wars may be over nearly, but I certainly had the feeling, and I said it would be more for other people, that you actually are fighting a war. You're fighting a war in situ in this country. Right? So the whole concept of masculine is designed to fight wars, and you are actually fighting a war. The people are the daily microaggressions you're dealing with. So I think it's all of the behaviors around essentially just trying to survive. They're survival strategies. Are things that I have a lot of empathy for. So what do I do with my own children? I try and provide them with alternative environments where they don't feel that they're trying to fight a war the whole time. Yeah.
Whilst they're in your governance, but are you selling them short if they're going out into the world?
This is the problem. Yeah. Because I've just said, my father telling me day after day, they're coming for you so there's this. I don't know the answer. This is the problem. So
Also, what age group are your boys? If you don't
one's
mind sharing?
11 now, and one's 16. The other one's there's a twin as well.
Yeah.
Yoruba twin thing. There's a twin who's a girl. So I want to mention her as well.
Yeah,
Right?
big her up. Big her up.
So yeah, that's the risk. The risk is that, but then hopefully I don't know the answer. What I hope for is that there's resilience. Does resilience have to be masculine in that way? I don't know the answer. It's a good question.
So,
I don't know the answer.
Chinks always basically tells us from time to time that they're stripping black men and mixed race men of their masculinity, right? And you are suggesting that it's leaving us unprepared, right? If the war is different. The war is very different. And some could argue that it's even more insidious because a lot of it's hidden.
Yep.
Should we not look to
Get a new toolkit.
or to push back of the stripping? Because we still need vestiges of that protection, surely. Even more so now.
Yeah, I would agree.
But maybe the methods.
I don't. It's really it's a difficult question. I would agree. You don't want somebody to go to be soft. I don't want my sons to be soft going into this world but maybe that's all about me, more about them. I don't know. You see, is that really about my own feelings about it? But yeah, I don't want my sons to go into this situation soft.
And then that extra layer for women now.
Yes.
Even different.
Yeah, I mean, in my book, essentially, the women, Joseph is hard as anything, right?
Yes.
The women suffer him.
Yeah, I
They
see what you
suffer him,
mean.
right?
Yeah.
Because in some sense, I've been that person, right? They basically just suffer him because he's so angry and disconnected. So all the women, and there's a woman he's trying to get with called Yolanda, who's a black businesswoman, and she knows. She's just staying away from him.
I do want to say that you've written this kind of like Gallus character quite well in this book. Is that from experience?
Look how you said.
Yeah, like
Come on, yeah, let's do that.
I'm like, you were
but
talking
quickly
about
is-
girlfriend. I
I'm
was
from
like,
Peckham and that. What?
I was like, he has about 4 girlfriends from what I've read so far in the book.
Look how he's smiling.
He's just searching for some kind of connection.
But also,
He's lost.
here's what they don't like about him. They've also benefited from in some shape and form. The people around him, they benefit from the way he is.
Yeah, that's true. So he's locked in this sort of behavior, these behavior patterns, because, and maybe that's why we all get locked in certain behavior patterns, because actually some people want you to. They like it. You like it. You get benefit from it. So yeah, definitely. But the key relationship he'd really like to have, which is Yolanda, she knows this guy's too unbalanced. There's no way I'm going near. I'm not going near it. And actually, I've got a sequel. I've got 2 sequels that I'm writing for Joseph.
come on.
And the relationship with Yolanda is.
I haven't gotten to the
Still
end, so I don't know
developing.
if it's
Yeah.
like happy endings with Yolanda yet.
Don't spoil it.
Don't spoil it. Don't
I'm not
spoil
sure
it.
it's a happy ending.
Oh!
I don't. Yeah, but maybe it will be later on.
Well, you spoke about the whole thing where they benefit from it. I guess that kind of goes back to the masculinity thing.
Yeah.
Everyone talks about masculinity. Oh, it's a bad thing. It's a bad thing. But we protect everybody. You
No,
know?
but I think there's different. When Brent first brought this up, I was thinking more like in terms of like the incel type of behavior.
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
But when you're talking, but then I was thinking like, oh, and you said about methods, and I was thinking like, oh, the NOI. Yeah.
Yep.
They seem like they would, like they prepare for war in whatever
Yeah.
kind of facet that is,
100%.
but they're not. I wouldn't associate them with incel
At all.
behavior. So I feel like there is a type of masculinity. Joseph, the lead character in this book, he's more like, he has like fixer kind of energy. Like he's always prepared and he's done some stuff and he's seen some stuff. But I feel like it's a real deep type of place that as a woman is kind of like, you might maybe be attracted to it initially, but then having to come face to face with some of the decisions that he has to make can be quite scary.
Having to live with it. He has to live with it, but
Yeah.
at least he made the decisions. I was very privileged to go to a group. I'm not trying to do an advert for them, called Men of Purpose, which is centers around a gentleman called Lord Hastings,
Okay.
who's a black man in the House of Lords. He's got this group of men,
Oh, Lord Hastings.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
and that seemed like a very positive, approach. It made me feel very nourished, actually, but a very positive approach to masculinity, which is essentially, we've got to help each other because things are difficult. So I went to one of their breakfasts a few weeks ago.
And that's why, remember when we had the person on the Discord and I was like, are you a feminist? It's like he didn't have that innate stand with us. Like we have to kind of course, if you're wrong, I'm not saying that you must be abused or gallus and all them thing there, but your initial response is just attack the man. I'm just like,
Yeah.
this don't sit right and well with me. You should be understanding to our plight and at least acknowledge my feelings, then kick me in my face. Like, if you get what I mean? And it just caught me a bit off guard. And one thing, I want to see if there's any correlation. You said about anger and the relationship with your mum, and then you said with the women, you lost. So like, I feel like that, because there's so many of my friends growing up, even me to a point, I was just angry. I don't even know why.
Yeah, exactly.
I don't know what it is. I don't know where it stemmed from. But the wrong thing, I'm willing to die like over any stupidness at any given moment.
Yeah.
And I didn't even correlate it. It's to do with maybe a relationship with my mum. And then another thing you said is like feeling lost and looking for something in women.
Yeah.
I didn't even correlate it to it. It could be something to do with the relationship with my mum.
I only started thinking about it when I was 45. So I live my life disconnected a lot. So yeah, I think for me that set of ideas came to me very late in life, and I wish it had come earlier. But yeah, why am I so angry all the time?
Can we talk about alcoholism?
Yeah.
Before we go to there,
No.
I'm so perplexed.
Yeah.
So when you all say that you're angry all the time, like, what does that mean?
How can I?
Because you all share something, obviously. You have something in common, obviously.
Not the mixed raceness.
I didn't even mention that. This is about the.
And
Wait.
curly
I
hair.
didn't say that. Are you angry all the time? I'm not angry all the time.
No, I hear you, but I have friends who are not
Small
mixed.
sample size, obviously. But talk to me.
No, but like, I've got friends who I grew up with. My state, it could be white, black, and all that stuff. And now, when he said that, I said it with hindsight.
Yeah.
When I look back and I'm like, bro, like, what was wrong with us? Because we're.
Gosh.
No, I think Josh has a good relationship with his mum.
But he's angry all the time, too.
You reckon?
Yeah.
I don't get that from him.
He said that.
Is it?
And then he said he's...
Oh, that's how he.
Yeah.
Oh, that might be even an underlying thing with me. I don't know. I just like even look at Terence Crawford. Your man was the best boxer in the world. His mum spoke down on him, treated him like there's like that initial relationship. I think it does something, and I don't think anything fixes that. Because he said he didn't realize he's 45. I think there's an innate thing that when you're a child, there's something you're meant to receive, and I think it ties into like being immature and childishness. Because I heard someone else say this. Yeah, he said like I didn't really think about it, but I don't really want to grow up because there's something I didn't receive when I was a child, and if I grow up, I'm never ever gonna get that. So it's left me in a state of immaturity, and it's like you can be messed up from the start, and like Lord willing, you can get it right, but some people, you never get that right.
Before we were on air, you mentioned something about therapy, right? If you could sit down with somebody who could help you understand these particular questions that you're asking, wouldn't you take it?
I don't think I'm equipped to even say the right things to get the correct information back, because only him saying that I've had an epiphany. So I don't even pay enough attention to myself to even know what the issues are to conversate about to get a solution. I just more look at the world and see, hold on, that kind of fits with me a bit, and attach that here and that. Because I've never sat down and actually had a thought, because I don't know if it's a thing of where I just, my childhood was great. It was perfect. I only focus on it. I don't really, anything that's negative, I don't talk down on my, like, there's loads of things I say, but I look at the positive, and it made me be able to cope and get through certain things. So I don't even look at certain things that have made me how I am negatively.
I'm angry all the time. And from what Miles just said, I'm questioning whether it may have something to do with the relationship with my mother. These are questions that I think that you want to find the answers to.
You know what it is? Maybe because I think maybe it's self-medication, because I've already found a apparatus to deal with that.
I forget what.
Do you know what I mean?
That's right.
Like, do you get what I mean? Because now I feel like if you can't solve this,
it
will make you
that you're using
actually
to
right.
deal with.
like, say for example, I have really bad road rage. Like I'll fight. I've fought. I've been arrested over it. I've been to court over it. Like there's like a anger I have, and I've noticed that what I listen to kind of attributes to that. So now I know I listen to more happy music, and it solves that problem instead of getting to the root cause. Because I don't know why that is. I just find a solution to get by without it affecting me as much.
A man who doesn't have control over his emotions or actions is a very dangerous man, even to himself and his
course.
loved ones. So if you're saying that in order to prevent yourself from getting to that particular outcome, you just don't listen to a particular type of music, that means you could be triggered at any point in time. I could use this, knowing full well that this is what amps you up. Yeah, I could feed this to you. And you don't have agency over what you become. Wouldn't you want to take that particular power away from an individual, an external source? Looking to fix. I mean, not say fix, because you might think that's a bit.
No, say it, man. Go on.
No, I don't think you see anything wrong with you. So
Yeah, I
let's
don't.
fix. Yeah. Wouldn't you want to have agency and control over every aspect of your life and your emotions?
Yeah.
Don't you think that's going to make you a more prime man?
I'm probably too ignorant because I want to do it my way. I feel like if you can't do it yourself, you don't deserve it. So that method of the music, I did it myself. The fact that I have to sit with someone else and find solutions to problems for my life, it just don't sit right with me.
In you not having agency during a road rage incident, you could now take your particular freedom away by yourself. You've chosen this, right? And who's benefiting? Are your children benefiting from you being incarcerated?
Of course not.
So why wouldn't you look to take that off the board?
I feel like I have.
Because you decide not to listen to drill in the car.
Yeah, and I'm aware of a problem, so I just act different.
To be honest, I
don't get in road rages.
I reckon if you're sat down opposite, and I don't know, ask Dr. Manny, if you are sat opposite somebody and you identify what the triggers are and you decide not to do it, that could be what it is that you would suggest in the first place, right? If this happens to you, don't do that.
Also, what's the difference between talking to a therapist and talking to Brent?
There's quite a difference.
What is the difference? Like you're being quite open and transparent in this arena.
Yeah.
So what would be the difference between just sitting with a professional?
Probably my own ignorance. I'm an ignorant cunt. Do you know what I mean? Probably my own ignorance.
And in my case, it was fear.
Maybe.
Fear of just reliving all the experiences.
See, now I don't think it's ignorance. Now I think it's fair. You see how much of a...
No. But did you do it eventually?
Do you get what I mean? I'm like, that makes sense. Because I would never say that. I don't have that. Sorry.
Are you scared though? Scared and feared, there may be two different things. But do you think you're afraid of what might come out of it?
Maybe. Yeah, very possibly. Maybe. Because I don't know what it is.
Why don't you just try it? Might be good.
I'm never going to just try it, guy. Like, you know what I mean? But go on, you said fair, sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I think
What do you mean by that?
this part of what this thing is, and I'm not an expert on anything. I've got the
No, but you got life
I've
experience.
got the
man.
luxury of being able to take these things and is that there's a whole set of things going on that I'm not aware of in my head. So I've done the road rage, bro.
Oh, okay.
That's one of the reasons I went. I got out of my car. I said, "Come on."
And when you do that, no one wants to come on then.
No, no, they
You're
don't.
acting like I'm insane.
Well, it's even what if they do? That's the real problem. Yeah. So I've actually been there when you were saying it. Yeah, so I found it. I don't do that anymore. I found it very useful. One thing I would say is that when you're doing it, if you're going to go that path,
Wait, what's it? Therapy? Are you referring to?
seeing a therapist, talking about this stuff, I don't do it anymore. I did it for a while, quite a long time. I think a black therapist is more useful than a white therapist, in my opinion. And
Do you reckon gender matters as well?
could do, could do. Yeah, so that's my own experience of it. So I think it's useful, and it comes back to this idea of addictions
Yeah.
and the things that we're doing to manage
Yeah.
all this stuff. So I see addiction everywhere, right? Alcohol, all kinds of drugs, and drugs are everywhere. Why are drugs everywhere? So we are medicating ourselves, and we're finding the medicine that we need to just carry on in this. That's how I view it. Carry on in this life, in this world.
And
So,
as someone who is older, slightly,
yeah,
and has been through all of these experiences, if there's any like young people out there that may be feeling anger in the same way that maybe you were, or going through addictions, I know you're not a specialist in this, but what kind of like advice would you recommend based on experience?
it's very difficult for me because I find everybody's experience is different, and everybody does their best with what they got. The suicide rates the incidence of mental ill health among men and black men are higher, and that's partly because of the situation that we find ourselves in this country, and partly because of these other factors. I wish I had some useful advice. It's just, for me, it's just try and survive. I mean, literally, that's the way I think about it. Just try and survive. It's just so difficult. Things are so difficult.
I think
Do what you need to do to survive.
I like, because you've done it several times now. You don't claim to have all the answers.
No, God, no.
And you don't claim to look to project any of this type of preachy babble onto anybody else.
I can only tell all we've got is our own experience, and I hope and what I'm trying to do is connect to say I hope it helps somebody, but actually, I don't have the answers. I've made so many mistakes in my life. I don't have the answers. I know I don't.
Doesn't that maybe make you more equipped?
It might do, but you put yourself in a very difficult position if you put yourself as the person that knows, because I don't believe I do know. And what I'm trying to do is shine a light on certain things that might help people. Some people.
Yeah.
Other people might get, screw that. I'm not interested. That's, so, and I'm not sure that anybody knows the ultimate, truth of these things. I'm not sure.
More equipped for what? More equipped for what?
For providing a solution.
If you don't know have the answers?
No, the fact
Because he's got loads of experience and made so many mistakes.
Okay.
So I know it's not this. I know it's not that. I know it's
Yeah,
what I'm
okay.
saying. So,
So when I talk about picking up a set of tools, the precise tools that I'm picking up are the ones that I found useful, and there are a bunch of other ones that I've discarded
Exactly.
because it didn't work for me.
Exactly.
So drinking didn't work for me. Discarded it. But that's just me, right?
What was it? What was that moment that you realized like drinking isn't working for me? Like what?
So I grew up in a culture of drink. My parents were both heavy drinkers. My grandfather was an alcoholic. So
Wait, from the white side or from
on the white side,
Oh,
yeah.
Just to be
But my father was a very social man and drank a lot. So it was very natural for me to start drinking with both of them actually when I was 14. Come on, let's go.
Wow.
You know, yeah.
That was a culture mode back then, though, was it?
And it was more the culture anyway, right? Drinking and driving was the culture. You know, you could do.
Weren't even illegal.
Yeah. You can do what you want, right? Without a seatbelt. It's like,
Yeah.
so I think it started then, really. So that brings up another set of things around how these things are passed down generations. And there were moments of disconnection where I realized that something was wrong, and that was in my 40s. So that's a long way to go to realize it. And I think a lot of people realize a lot earlier. I don't think I ended up as an alcoholic because I think I stopped before. I think for two reasons. Firstly, I was a lightweight, which saved me, and secondly, I stopped before I got there. I'm grateful for that too. But I was certainly using it. Yeah.
You had mentioned that you don't think that you are a great father. If you were to start another journey of fatherhood at this juncture in your life, would that response be different?
Yeah, I think that I wasn't great for the first 5 or 6 years of my twins' life because I was very disconnected. I was working and he's using work as an excuse to disconnect. But this process that we've all talked about, I think I got better at it. But a lot of us have parents that are very disconnected. So I've become, hopefully, and it's not for me to say actually, right? Hopefully I've become a lot more connected in the last 8-9 years than I was before. So that's the context within which I say I don't think I was
Well,
a great parent.
Was that difficult to reconnect? Because like I know men, they've had like issues with their child's parent, and then they've not been able to see their child as freely as they wanted in it, and there's like a hurt that came with that in it.
True, yeah.
So they've, for their own like benefit and mental health, they've had to kind of not sever the tie, but like put that to the back of their mind, because it just like some men, they put on a Spider-Man suit and climb buildings because I just want to see my kids and stuff like that. Yeah. So I know, but some of them it's difficult to make that connection again because I don't know, it's fear or being scared of getting that hurt again. So
I don't. All of that, all of those sorts of things are to do with you and what's going on inside of you, and what we're always tempted to do is to blame the outside world. Say, I was her. Or it was that person. Actually, it's all about what I learned for myself. It's all about what's going inside of me. So if you want to address all that stuff, you got to go in and think about what's happened to you and where you're at. That's all I got on it. So I can see, definitely. But even men, I was in a marriage and I was disconnected. I wasn't connected with my kids enough. So so even within a marriage, when I got divorced, obviously, I get to see my kids a lot. I'm grateful. So even within a marriage, people are very disconnected.
Yeah.
And people, so there's domestic violence in the book. There's alcoholism. But these are not abnormal things. Right? This is commonplace stuff, right? So it's everyone, right?
Yeah.
I'm not putting a finger. It's everyone. So that's all I'm trying to say.
Guys, remember Peckham Rye. As you can see, it's a beautiful cover. Please, can you tell us what inspired this cover?
Oh yeah, thank you. So the cover's got an Adinkra symbol on it.
Yes.
Which
what's a Dinkra?
I'd forgotten we were talking about this.
Yeah.
I love Adinkra as the ancient symbology and ancient writing of the Akan people in West Africa.
Okay.
Which emerged from the Akan people, which stretch from Ghana across Cote d'Ivoire. And they're symbols, and there are probably hundreds of them. And I find them fascinating, partly because I like history, because I think history is about what's happening now. But when you think about what those symbols mean, and I wanted it to be sort of really, really there in the book, and we've got posters up, Hackney and Brixton and places, that symbol's there. The reason the symbols are interesting is because of what they mean about the people that invented them. And it's about statecraft. So the symbols they're essentially the people in charge are telling people, this is the law. Think about Moses coming down with the tablets. These are a lot better than that. They're much more subtle, much more complex. But this is the way that we are going to relate to you. The people, the chiefs, this is how we're going to relate to you. This is how you're going to relate to each other. So there's an ethical component to it. This is what the good person should be like. And then the final thing is this is how God relates to all of us.
Yeah.
So they're also they're metaphysical, they're philosophical.
Yeah.
So these Adinkra symbols, they have these different layers to them.
Mm.
And I wanted it on the book for three reasons. Firstly, I wanted it on the book because I think it's a wonderful thing that this must come out of thousands of years of civilization and culture. So I definitely wanted it there. Inside the book, it's used as, I love the idea of this is used as a key. So it's a detective, it's a page turner. So he's following a mystery. Joseph is following a mystery. Somebody's disappeared, he's got to find them. And this is it's a piece of evidence. And I love the idea that this ethical symbol is a piece of evidence that helps him understand what's going on. So I wanted to use it. I definitely wanted to use it for that reason as well. But really, I wanted it, just history. I want it to be prominent. The final thing about it is the one I chose is called Bessie Saka, which is essentially the kola nut and a bag of kola nuts. And it signifies wealth, not just material wealth, I think spiritual wealth, really. The thing with these Adinkra is that there are multiple layers to them. So it's wealth. The kola was a very valuable commodity. Actually had a Nigerian friend remind me that in the wedding ceremony that I myself had, kola is one of the things that you give to the bride's family. So kola nut was a very valuable commodity.
Amongst the Igbos, right?
This is Yoruba, actually.
Yoruba, sure.
So it's abundance and wealth, but it's also spiritual wealth because it was used for spiritual ceremonies. And but it's also unity. And so what I'm trying to say is that there's this entity that exists, this unity and spiritual wealth. And in the book, it's been stolen by the European corporation. So they're stealing this kind of this thing from us. So I love that particular symbol, Bessie Saka, for this reason, and that's why I have it in the book on the front page.
Are there any other Adinkra symbols that competed and almost made it to the front?
No, because this is it was so because I wanted one about money and wealth, right? Because this is about how one system
kind of represents you a little bit.
This system is extracting. So the book is really a story about how this system here is extracting from over here. So this is the one. It was absolutely appropriate. There's one Jinyame, which is God is all, and that's just. I mean, that's like a metaphysical statement. It's mad.
Powerful.
It's mad. And I got sucked into history. I love history and West African history. And these things are going back thousands of years. There's a site called Dar Tichet that they found in Mauritania, near the border of Mali. It's 2,000 years BC. Right? So it's just, this is showing you and it's been hidden for a number of reasons. They don't want to admit it. And second, I think the whole climate change in the Sahara. So a lot of it was hidden just because it became a desert. It was a lush place. So also it's about history and how these things signify statecraft. It must go back thousands of years, and in some sense that this neo-colonial system is trying to rob that history, and has done so unsuccessfully.
You mentioned that with robbing us, I guess, monetarily and also in terms of our unity.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
How can we kind of remedy that situation? I know, obviously, you may say you have the answer.
Big question.
What sort of things can we kind of?
I see a lot of things. This idea of the small acts chipping away individuals. I see a lot of things that make me very optimistic.
That's good.
I see a lot of groupings of people.
Really?
Groupings of people
Yeah.
coming together. And over my 50 years in this country, I think there's a lot more of that now than there was. I mean, being in the studios makes me optimistic, frankly, on what's happening here, right? So, so I don't think there has to be any grand plan. I think people can achieve it. The problem is it quickly enough? And will this system permit it? That's another question.
So I was just going to say, do you fear that, similar to any sort of migration patterns and civilizations that kind of develop with more different ethnicities coming in, right? That the culture ultimately will be, for lack of a better term, be watered down. So the things that we might find is the best way to unify us with every generation becomes one of those things that we can no longer use, and so we become part of the system that you're saying is robbing us of our unity anyway.
There's a big debate out there about whether we should be inside the system, trying to change it from the inside, or whether that we must recognise that's never going to happen, and we should try and build our own structures and institutions.
Yep.
Where do you lean? In those two?
I veer between the two, but because I'm by nature an outsider, I tend to think that this system that I've described here will take hundreds of years to permit. So I was looking at the other day how many financial companies, say finance is the biggest thing, there's 5% of the population is black, right, in this country, just under 5. How many financial companies are registered with the Financial Authority? Thousands, tens of thousands. So let's say 10,000. So that what that means is, what's 5% of 10,000? There should be hundreds of black CEOs of financial companies in this country.
By the time that happens, we won't be here. If it ever does.
Yeah, so these are just facts. You can translate it to football, obviously, and the proportion of Premier League footballers are 40% are black. And so the question is, how much faith do you have that this system will evolve? And I tend to be skeptical that it's going to evolve fast enough. But there are other people who I respect that think, we just hang in there. And but that's not. It's probably not where I came from. So that's not what I believe.
And realistically, it's not kind of fair, is it? Because they've had such a head start. So realistically, if there's so many people who are more ahead of you, let's say football, for example, have more experience in managerial roles and stuff like that. You on your first start, you're so easily replaced because there's so much people ahead of you within this system. But if we were in our own system where we're all kind of balanced, or like the experience isn't as vast, like it would be more fair, and you wouldn't be judged so harshly.
I think the answer is yeah. So I think one of the reason why I tried to do this book as well, I think part of the most important thing for me, and maybe that's because I have a West African heritage, is what happens in Nigeria. If Nigeria is strong, if we could ever get to that point, 250 million people, then the whole thing would change, the whole game would change. So I think what happens in Nigeria is really, really important for everybody.
And because of the population,
just because of the scale of it, and
potential as well.
And so I spend quite a lot of time thinking about what's going wrong and what's going right in Nigeria, because it would change the nature of the debate. And that's part of that is because I'm skeptical that within this system that we're going to get any more than crumbs from the table. But that's the situation we're in. I'm skeptical of that. I could be wrong. I hope I'm wrong. I hope I'm wrong. Owning the means of production is very important. So if you work for somebody else, ultimately,
you're at their mercy.
Yeah.
So
a truer, more powerful statement made: owning the means of production.
Yeah.
Somebody says, why so Nigeria centric?
It's a good question. I say I was, if you like, married. My children have Nigerian passports. I was married to Nigeria for many years. But it's also because of the scale of Nigeria relative to everybody else. I'm actually more Ghana-centric in many ways, but I recognize that, or I think that Nigeria has to, if Nigeria was to fulfill its massive potential, then a lot of things would change.
It would definitely have a knock-on
geopolitically, actually.
100%. 100%.
So that's probably, and it probably is a bias, just because of that.
Is there a more diverse part in Africa than Nigeria?
I don't know,
Well, in terms
Diverse
of scale,
in terms of what?
Ethnicity.
Not even just ethnicity, because from being here and learning stuff, like there's a lot of other people, like other nations in Africa that have been in Nigeria and had a part in Nigeria, and then even then you lot said it was formed and divided and stuff.
Oh yeah.
It seems like see how like London's like a culture kind of melting pot, and there's loads of different ethnicities in it. It seems like Nigeria's like an African version of that. If I've
To some degree, yeah. But I think that's with every African nation.
Is it?
Yeah, maybe less so with like Somalia and those sort of places. But every African nation, because they never actually decided the borders for themselves, automatically people just put together. See what I'm saying? So depending on the size of the borders, also the size of the ethnic groups that were there before, it's going to vary. But I'm not too sure if Nigeria is the most diverse in terms of ethnic groups.
Okay.
There is about 300 different ethnic groups though.
Okay.
Yeah. So,
I wanted to speak about identity and
Yeah.
like your children have this Yoruba side to them, they have this Ghanaian side,
Yeah.
and then they have this white side. Is it Irish or Scottish or
English.
English? Okay, and they have this English side. So how do you what's their identity like, and how do you ensure that they?
It's a good question. Identity is part of the book as well. I think you can. And the beauty of the diasporal experience diaspora is great to write to because there's so many layers to it.
Yeah.
But you get to choose to some degree, right? You get to say, hey, I'm more like that. I'm more like this. I'm more like that. So, and that's a choice I don't want to make for them. I want them to, are they Londoners more? Are they, they spend time in Nigeria. They're surrounded by a Nigerian family. They come to my place. I have an extended family. Let them choose. That I wanted them to grow up in London because I thought that was a place where they'd have as many options as possible. That's what I wanted for them.
That's the beauty of being black and British, isn't it? The black British experience. It has to take a different form. I mean, look at African American. That's its own thing. And they're fighting for that even now, right? So that's what being black and British is going to be at some point in time, where you can be a hodgepodge of different ethnicities, cultures and whatnot, and decide, this is where I'm going, and I might decide to go here as well, or instead of. That's surely what it will
definitely
come after a while.
Inevitable, yeah.
And it would then be coined as a thing. If you say that Nigeria was never Nigeria before, and within Nigeria there's so many different groups of people, different belief systems and whatnot, then, and you really, really hone in to your Yoruba heritage, Mr. Yoruba land, but also there's an affinity to Ghana, and you still exist as that duality.
Yeah.
No one's going to take that from you.
Impossible.
At all. And they're not going to question your... How many questions, obviously? You're Nigerian, yes? Why is it coming?
Thank you. I was going to highlight that. That was quite... You just saw a black person on the screen and didn't even differentiate. I was thinking, he's talking to you, man. He just got...
So cool.
Yeah.
Well, the thing is that Brent obviously makes a good point there in terms of like how, I guess, being black British exists, right? But do you feel like... This is to everybody, yeah? Like, do you feel like it depends on how it starts? So, for example, Nigeria, we had no control over that. African Americans had no control over that, right? But at least us, yes, Windrush, different generations and stuff like that, right? Do you feel like it will be successful with us because it's almost like choice? We migrate here, we choose to come here. Yes, of course, back home, there's certain reasons why we choose to even leave back home. But at least it's different to being, totally controlled, colonized, borders up, laws for you and laws not. You know what I'm saying? It's different.
Is it different? Yeah, because there's going to be people from or made up of what you're made up of, and like they'll see that as disrespectful to your ancestors, that you're even leaning in or you're even leaning in or even accepting or taking on these people's, I don't know, identity or whatever, considering what they've done to our people before.
Well, from what perspective? You're talking about from the back home perspective or being here?
You being a black person and saying you're British, knowing what the British done to your people, is there's some people that's not going to sit right with
100%.
under any circumstance.
Yeah, that's true.
And they'll look at you as, I don't know, who is it, Scar, who got sent away for Pride, like, do you know what I mean?
That's a good point. But I think even though the word British is there isn't really the desire to tie yourself to the colonial legacy of Britain. You know what I'm saying? It's more so about locale and where we are, innit? That's why I think.
I hear you.
And I think our children, like the generation after us, will see themselves more as this like black British than, because I never describe myself as black British, only if I'm taking a form. I always describe myself as Nigerian. But when I think about my son, he will more be like, oh, I'm black British, Nigerian maybe. So I definitely think that the generation below us will have more of that kind of unity, and maybe fight for that in the way that Brent mentioned earlier than we did.
How do you feel about that?
I'm a bit torn by it, but then I'm thinking about, like, just from listening to your answer, like, that's just the reality of it now, I think. Although he does need to understand, like, what the importance of Nigeria to him. I would want him to want to go back to Nigeria, take his children to Nigeria, because otherwise I think it's quite sad to think that it might just not be a
wash out kind
yeah.
of. Yeah. It is.
And black British, I think, like what you're saying in terms of choice, is just like, we just ended up here like this. Maybe if it wasn't for, I don't know, colonization and stuff like that, we may not have ended up here.
One could say that's about every culture. Like, if you track maybe Yoruba people coming from maybe Sudan or coming from Kemet, for example, like, we left places and became a new thing.
Yeah.
Do you get what I'm saying? So it's just normal. It's humans, right?
Because what's more important? Your experience or what you've lived, what makes you who you are, or your legacy and your history?
Yeah, I think they overlap. And I think maybe part of why it's so important here is because of this feeling of being under threat the whole time, being in a hostile territory.
Yeah.
So you need some kind of anchoring.
Yeah.
The idea that you need some anchoring to just survive, basically, to, you know. So I think it's that's partly it.
But if we succumb to black British, I don't know, like, I feel like there's only power in that if it becomes like how it was discussed yesterday and all of these things what we're planning. If not, I think we would have just galvanized and then still be
At the bottom.
At least if we cling on to our history and our like where we've come from, there's hope, and there's kind of like, okay, at least there we're not at the bottom.
Yeah. And you know, because I look down on and it's a bad thing, I look down on Americans who say, yeah, I'm African American, they have no trace of their lineage or nothing like that. I kind of look at you with a bit of pity to a degree, because I've been to Jamaica. I know that feeling when I was there. Like, do you know what I mean? And the fact that you don't have that, I shouldn't. But I'm like, what's going on? Who are you? Like, what's going on here? Which is probably bad, because it makes me, now I've just realised everybody kind of has their own identity kind of crisis going on to a degree. If you're not at that place steeped in your history and where your people's been from, and you've got no outside influences, which I didn't even understand. So we're all kind of fighting some battle within to a degree.
I think this is because, like, humans, like, we've done this for thousands of years. You know what I'm saying? It's just different battles, different wars, there's always going to be something.
Yeah.
Always. You know what I'm saying? And, like, in 1,000 years, the struggle might be different. But I think what Miles is basically saying is the people who are in power now don't want things to change, even for another 1,000 years.
Yeah.
And we will always be at the bottom, you know what I'm saying? If they have their way. But saying that, though, Ray Dalio, who I believe manages, like, probably the biggest hedge fund, right, in the world, he talks about the civilization falling, right? Basically, every single civilization eventually falls.
Yeah.
And he thinks we're on that decline now, where the great superpower, America, is on the way down. Do you feel as though that's true, number one? And number two, if it is on a decline, who is maybe on the rise? And number three, is that all good for us?
Yeah, it's a lot of questions. I think, firstly, it was, in a sense, it was my job to think about these things for many years. The rise of India and China.
Yeah.
So the answer is yes.
Yeah.
West is falling.
Yeah.
India and China. To some degree, the Arab world is rising. and Africa can rise too,
Yeah.
led by Nigeria.
Come on.
Can happen. So yeah, that's happening, and Europeans find it really difficult because they're finding it really difficult to deal
Yeah,
with.
their
right?
football teams are going to be shit.
And Americans find it really difficult, right? One thing I do when I talk to people about history is to talk about again ancient civilizations. So these countries are coming up, but India and China and Africa have histories before
Yes.
of being on top and in charge. All right. So the ancient empire of Kush, which basically they took over ancient Egypt. They were thought of as one of the 4 great civilizations of the world.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
2,000 years ago. So in some sense, it's a re-emergence. It's not coming from nowhere. There's actually a bedrock.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I think firstly it's happening, and the West finds it really, really difficult. And a lot of the media commentary you get is a kind of unconscious sort of fear
Yeah.
of Europeans that the world is no longer Eurocentric, and that's currently being challenged by China and India. But
Yeah.
and they particularly seem to have a problem with the Chinese, but which probably means the Chinese are doing better.
Exactly.
Whenever I see them doing that, I know what's happening. So yeah, so I think that's happening. In terms of how we can relate to that, I would hope, and I've worked with Chinese people and Indian people, I would hope there's more of an empathy, and I could be wrong, there's more of an empathy amongst more of them, so maybe 5% of them opposed to 1%, of what colonization means, because it happened to them too. So I would hope that's the case.
I'll be honest with you.
You don't think?
Yeah, because I was going to say something.
I would hope so.
I always say Africans have no friends.
Yeah.
We've seen the exploitation of certain African countries already with China. Personally, that's what I
It
think.
happened in the Caribbean as well.
There you go. There you go. Right? India already did that to some degree.
Yeah, yeah.
Look at parts of Eastern and Southern Africa as well.
Yeah.
So, with more power
Yeah.
and then wanting to, I guess, consolidate that and make sure there's no movement, they're going to do the same thing. It might be different
Yeah, it's
in
different.
terms of that relationship.
Would that
right?
different be better?
Probably, but still,
Not what it should be.
yeah. Do you want to be the house slave or the field slave? You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, so,
And also, do you feel like there's a correlation between before people were going to Africa, going to parts of the Caribbean for like their resources, and now I feel like they're going there for technology. So where we think that actually it can be, I think I saw somewhere that Nigeria is like the leading kind of leading in the space of technology, AI, and all of this kind of stuff. And now you see a lot of like foreign people wanting to invest now in this. And if they accept this, because it seems like good business, but to me it seems like, it's just a reflection of what has already happened before.
So I'm trying to frame the question what I can answer. So you're saying that the technology has great potential, but it will just be the same capitalistic.
Yeah.
The same thing will happen.
Yes.
Yeah, because I think the economic structures are set up to benefit, and especially the tech structures. They're owned by about 4 US companies, right?
Wow.
They own all the real money making.
yeah.
So there's definitely a big risk of that happening. I think you're right that I don't think Chinese and Indian companies will be any more. They just want to do the same thing to us that the European companies
Yeah.
do. Of course they do, but there's not this denialism. There's just not this denialism
hear you.
about this whole British fairness thing. Where's that coming from?
Yeah.
To be British is to be fair. But all the evidence suggests it's the opposite.
Never been fair, yeah.
So maybe that's why you need to say it all the time. I don't find that with Indian. There's no sort of this hypocrisy.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
So maybe that's easy to deal with, maybe not. I don't know, but I feel more comfortable at least.
Yeah,
I
do.
faced this
as well.
side of psychosis of actually,
Anything but them now. Yeah.
we're gonna they go around the world telling everybody what to do,
Yeah, to this
but they've just allowed 70,000 Palestinians to be killed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's like, come off it. So I'm hoping that that's easy to deal with, but maybe that's over optimism. On the tech side, all the tech currently is controlled by, ultimately by the US companies. China has its own sphere
Yeah.
where the government controls it, and Europe hasn't got anything. So yeah, it will accrue to them again.
I'm glad you mentioned the whole where the government controls what's going on in China. Do you feel as though maybe Africa needs that, where the government controls, or maybe create some sort of system where there's a bit more, allow the people who are so entrepreneurial, who are so brilliant, to kind of do certain things for themselves? Because every now and again you hear a news story about somebody back home in Nigeria or another part of Africa who's created something out of nothing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying? Like every single day.
I agree.
You know what I mean? So how do you think is the best way to manage that?
Because I've spent my time thinking about these questions, essentially, doesn't matter what system of government you've got. You can have dictatorship in terms of development. It may matter for other reasons. You can have democracy, limited democracy. If you just allow people not to be interfered with
Yep.
too much, people pursuing their own interest,
Yep.
in the end will do better.
Exactly.
So the problem with dictatorship that we have had is that our dictatorships end up with over interference. People are not allowed to. You can't even, the infrastructure is not there. People are not allowed to pursue
Can't
their own
even pour
interests.
coffee down the drain.
You know
Well,
what I'm saying?
that's why that story is an interesting one. There's people going, what the hell? So I don't mind what the political system is, because it's in Asia, a more centralized political system has worked in some countries. It's more just allowing people freedom. And all the stories you hear out of Nigeria, they're all over Africa.
Yeah.
I was involved with a charity for many years that I co-founded it. And it was it was helping businesses in Ghana predominantly, but and these stories in Nigeria are there, but they're all over Africa. People but it's, in order to do that, people just leave them alone. What do I mean by that? I mean, if you have to go to the local, if you have to bribe 100 different people to get your business off the ground, it's going to make it a lot more difficult.
Yeah.
If you haven't got electricity, if the security situation, if you have to use a diesel generator in Nigeria, which is like 10 times more expensive, just government just allow people, give them the conditions to, and then it will just happen.
Exactly.
It will just so for me, it doesn't matter what it is. Just that.
Yep.
And that can happen. I'm not. There's no reason why it can't happen. It can happen within our lifetimes.
Exactly.
That's what I always think. I think it's going to happen within our lifetime. I'm really excited by that prospect. But a lot of people are like, no, Timmy, you're crazy if you think that.
I agree with you a bit, because I feel that like when my dad come here, he used to say that at certain times, if you saw a particular looking white man or a certain colour van, he had to run for his life.
Wow.
And I feel like that's the because he was newer here than us, innit? So the same thing we're talking about of us being here, we have a sense of belonging and a feeling of belonging, and we ain't fucking running. We're gonna fight. Yeah. And I feel like, I don't know what the word is, we're a bit more rebellious than they are. And I feel like the generation underneath is gonna be a bit more rebellious, because they feel more accustomed, and no, this is my place, you can't treat me no way. Yeah.
Yep.
So I kind of agree with you a bit. If it's not now, there's gonna be some drastic changes within maybe I'm hoping. I feel like there should be as well.
I wanted to ask, in terms of like your children, if they said they wanted to go into this finance sector to work, would you encourage that?
Well, firstly, fortunately, they don't. My own view is that, as I said, most of it shouldn't exist. Some of it should. The idea that you take people's savings and then give it to other people to start business, actually, it's just the cut they're taking is too big. So I will never actively discourage, but I would certainly show them what's this all about. The only reason people go into it, as I said, is you get paid, they hope to be, it doesn't often happen, but they hope to be paid more money than they deserve. So what you're really saying is, I want more money than I deserve.
Yeah.
Right. That's it, right?
Yeah.
So I think I hope there's better things out there for them.
Do you think if there was more people like you within that system, that could change?
But the problem is that what I'm saying is that the profits of that system have to drastically reduce for the benefit of everybody. So I don't think there's anybody that goes into that system.
Yeah.
I don't think they believe that because it's the money coming to their pocket.
Yeah.
So
Because I do that. I say, when I get this money, I'm going to do this. I get this
yeah.
money. And I just do what I want to do.
Yeah,
to
that's
benefit
true.
me. I forget
Yeah,
about all those other promises I made
yeah,
before.
yeah, that's true. I think that system is so old in this country that I don't think it will be reformed. So powerful, I don't think it will be reformed. If anything, the Labour government is now saying more bonuses for bankers. That's
What's the
other way.
justification, though? Because do they make the money for the country? Is that their justification for it?
Are they making the money though? Because all they're really doing is they're taking a cut in the middle. So it's everybody's hard-earned work. The money goes in, and then they recycle it. So to other people who are working hard.
Oh.
That's all that's going on there, right?
Oh.
That's what it's there for. So your hard-earned money, you save, you put in a bank, it's recycled to another business or another, and what they're doing is just that bit in the middle. Is that wealth generating?
Yeah.
See, Germany doesn't believe it's wealth generating. They call it locusts. They actually got it.
Is it?
They don't believe it's wealth generating. So what is generating? So the only way it's wealth generating is if you persuade lots of other people from outside to bring their money.
Yeah.
So that you can look after. And that's where we get back to the business model of taking rich people's money from around the world.
Yeah.
So the business model is money laundering, right?
Yeah.
Basically, yeah,
Literally.
yeah.
It is. So
No.
so that's how you add value. You get you persuade the Nigerian elite to bring their money here.
Yeah.
Billions of it. So
Izzy's asked a question. Can a moral purpose have an immoral career if they are using the money to do good, like a Robin Hood mentality?
they're different models of it. And it's a personal decision, isn't it? So you can do it at a personal level. If you get some money, you can decide what to do with it. Do you try and help your community? Do you try and back black businesses, for example? It's a personal decision. The problem with the corporation is that it's profit motivated, especially if that profit is owned by outside shareholders. So it's very, very difficult for a profit motivated corporation to do anything other than pursue profit. But it always has to be contained within legality, but it's very, very difficult. And that's why you've seen some of the behaviours outside of Britain of corporations operating in Africa, for example. They're just pursuing profit. I had a very good Kenyan friend at uni many years ago, and he told me there was a cigarette called Sportsman
That's
when he was growing up. They couldn't get away with that here. Right? There they could call it Sportsman.
Yeah.
So that's
They should give you cigarettes in hospital here.
Yeah. There's a smoking balcony.
Oh, is it? Right.
Smoking outside.
What does this represent? Because you're a very thoughtful person, and I don't think you're going to put something permanent
That's
on
such
you.
a good question. I wanted to ask. And would you get this tattoo next?
Could do. Yeah, could do.
Basically, guys, Chinks just asked Miles about his tattoo.
Yeah, tattoo. There's another set of things I haven't talked about here, which is around what I think is going on. So I'm interested in all kinds of things, but what I think is going on with science now, and how science is merging with theology, and all of especially Christian, Buddhist theology, and a lot of science is now coming to the view that actually what these people are saying, the theologians, Jesus essentially, and Buddha, is actually more realistic. So I'll give you an example, given that you asked. The stuff that makes up... So what physicists now have been saying for at least 50 years, the stuff that makes up an atom, break it down, electrons, protons, it was at school, gluons and muons, you break it down, in the end you end up with something that looks like God.
I swear.
Yeah, that's what they're saying in their mathematics. It's called a quantum field. It's just like a description of something. So it's not real. It's like a spiritual thing. So I'm very interested in that spirituality, and so that's what it is. I'm very interested in theology. But the interesting thing for me is that science Western materialist science
It's now back in it.
is coming full. Is moving very, very close to religion and a religious view of reality. And I think that could be quite an interesting next 100. For me, actually, I think that's the most important thing. But I think that could be an interesting thing. Let's see.
You need to come back on a Wednesday. They talk about this kind of
Do they?
stuff. Yeah.
Okay, great.
No, but even now we can kind of get into it a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because do you think that would be a good thing? So I guess on the surface it may seem like, okay, cool. You know what? They're corroborating what
Yeah.
humans pretty much articulated in a different religious
yeah.
systems. But what happens next?
So I've actually written a novel about that. My first novel, which
Okay.
it wasn't good enough, so I haven't published it. It's exactly answers that question. I did it about 4 years ago.
Okay.
Called Abundant Blessings from Above.
Wow.
What happens next? So if you then have to accept, that we are all part of one universal thing, Nyame,
Yes. Yeah.
God is all, right? So if we are all just a small part of one thing,
Yeah.
you are me and I'm you,
Yes.
we're just parts of God having a different experience.
Yeah.
That completely changes our relationship with each other. If I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. So if it was actually to really happen, we'd have a completely different world. And of course it hasn't happened
Yeah.
because there's a lot of resistance to it. But if you start to think that we're all aspects of the same thing, then and if people really believed it inside,
Yeah.
then you've got a kind of utopian situation there. So I think that's a very desirable thing to happen. Whether it does or not, I don't know. So
Do you think there's a chance that could lead to even more than there is now, a commodifying of God? Where it's like, okay, cool, we recognize now he exists. Before we weren't too sure. Some of you guys did, some of you guys believe some spooky business, all that sort of stuff. But now we know. We've seen scientifically he exists. Okay, cool. The next step is how can we control everybody? Because like you said, the elite will still want to be in a particular position.
Yeah, so I think that's true. But then what happens to the elite if they really believe it? They don't want to be elite anymore, do they?
Yeah. Is that
If
afterlife?
you have to really believe it, right?
Yeah.
So if they really believe it, and if science proves it, because that's what people seem to put a lot of store by science for some reason, and then in an ideal world, the elite goes, yeah, fair enough, we're all part of it too. We
Yeah,
don't
but
need
then-
to accumulate these billions.
If they believe it, like believe that God exists as a thing,
Yeah.
but then that doesn't mean that, because then they will think that it's within
Yeah.
Earth, not outside and beyond. So
Yeah.
then their behavior could just get worse because they're just like, and then I can see how they could commodify
Yeah,
it
definitely.
because it's something that they can
Yeah, I
see
got you.
and hold and.
Yep.
Yeah. So there's two aspects to it. One is that God exists, but two is that we're all part of God. So there has to be the second bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. There has to be the second step, which is actually that we're all part of this one thing. And then, but you're right, if it's just that God exists, then hey, and I'm a person, then God becomes a commodity.
Yeah.
Actually, yeah, definitely. But it's this second step, I think, that will change everything. I don't know, I'm really interested in it. And that's, the reason I'm interested in it is because of the science, neuroscience and physics is moving so rapidly towards this position. I find that really interesting. But let's see.
Everything that you're saying, kind of, I feel like to some degree, some belief systems back in the day that even still exist, kind of echoed the same sort of thing. You know what I'm saying?
It's there.
Exactly,
Right?
exactly.
We do. Right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I fear that potentially, let's say that does happen.
Yeah.
Who's going to articulate the next steps? So how do we maybe like does worship go, or is worship enhanced? Like, do I need to go to a building to worship, or can I look in the mirror and worship myself because I'm part of God and God is part of me?
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like, who says what's right and who says what's wrong? Do you know what I'm saying? And I feel like sometimes we spend a lot of time, like in normal life, right, arguing about like how we're gonna sort out the solution rather than finding the solution, if that makes sense. So in the same way here, it's like, cool, we've arrived at something here that's amazing. Okay, but instead of now just focusing on the fact that this amazing thing can revolutionize everything, we're going to talk about how we can get it to the people. And because we're all people with different mindsets, different experiences, it's all going to be, I feel like, there's going to be still that connection, right? That comet tail to our previous experiences. So somebody won't want to give up the total belief that Jesus alone is God.
Yeah.
You can say, hey, we're going too far now. How can all of us, if all of us are God, then Jesus is saying that's special. And somebody's going to say, okay, Muhammad, da. You know what I'm saying? Like, then we find ourselves in more issues potentially.
Yeah, so it has to be, this is why the science thing's so interesting to me. So it has to be incontrovertible
Yeah. Okay.
and it has to be something that everybody goes, oh yeah.
Yeah.
And that is a very optimistic scenario. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah.
May not be, but it has to be something that is like people believe that this chair exists. That
Yeah.
We agree that this chair
Yeah.
exists. It has to be something like that, where the proof is so
Mm.
overwhelmingly obvious that everybody just gives in and says, "Okay, fair enough." Okay. And you're right. The ancient religions understood this. Christians understood it. Islamic
Mhm.
tradition understood it. The Sufis understood it.
Yep.
Hindus understood it. It's been there for
5%ers.
everybody understood it.
Yeah.
It's just Western materialism took it away,
Yeah. Yeah.
and that's the history of it.
Let me see how that works out. So,
That's all the problems we're talking about, basically.
Mm.
Yeah, so I hope so, but let's see.
big up Kofi as well. It's his birthday, man, in the chat. Happy birthday.
Happy
bro, man.
birthday.
Big him up. Big him up. Big up Kofi.
I'd say happy birthday in tree.
Kofi can tell us.
I thought you were saying it. Yeah.
Yeah.
To be fair, Kofi's the person that I was saying was defending
Yeah.
Angela Reyna. So
Okay, big.
still,
Still doesn't mean he's a good person.
100%.
I'm doing confetti.
There you go.
Woo, happy birthday!
All right.
See now, yeah, I'm 38, yeah, and I remember being 18 and thinking I know everything, and now I'm 13. I realized I didn't know shit at 18. Like, do you get what I mean? And I don't know if you've realized what's happened here. You're older than us here, not by a lot, not even trying to do that, but it's turned into a thing where we've kind of just started asking you questions because you have a life experience, we don't, innit?
Yeah.
And just you living stuff, you've taught us so much stuff. Even I don't even know if you've known you've done it, but you've helped us a lot ourselves. So, is this, you see, like this, what we're doing now? How do you feel about this? Is this something you'd be interested in doing more? Because you've got a knack for it.
I don't know if I've got a knack or not, but in a way, I'm just grateful to be able to share something and to take it. So I'd more than happily do it, but it depends on how useful it is to people. Right?
I think it's very useful.
Can I do a segue? So on the 1st of November, Brent's not here to put it on the screen, but on the 1st of November, we're going to be celebrating the launch of this book.
Wicked.
And you're all invited to come along. Tickets are £10, but you get a copy of the book with that. There's going to be food, drink, good vibes. If you've ever been to a blacklisted book club event, you know that it's a good time. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to let you know that you're all welcome to come. We're going to be getting into the nitty-gritty of the book, the story, and Mars's background. So I just wanted to use this opportunity to invite you all. I'll pull it in, or Brent will put it in the
Description and that.
description and in the Discord and all of that good stuff.
When and where is that? I mean,
It's
where?
on the 1st of November, which is, I believe is a Saturday. It's between 1 and 3, and it's in a venue called Area Noir, which is in London Field, so not far from
Wicked.
here. Just come along, have a good time. Going to be asking, you're warmed up now, so you'll be answering all the questions, Miles?
Try my best.
That's good.
All right. So obviously we do have to wrap up, but I did want to ask though, like, what do you want listeners to take away from this book?
Well, the first thing, it's a page turner. So the people that I want it to be a page turner and a diversion. Because there's no point having a detective novel if you don't want to know what happens on the next page. Right? So it's got to be a page turner. But also I want them to see a worldview
Yeah.
that, about the way things are.
Yeah.
And to maybe to just, trigger a few questions and maybe shed a light on maybe the way things are. And that's enough for me.
Yeah. Dope. And you already said that you've got 2 books in the pipeline, right?
Yeah, I've got two sequels. One's called I don't know Nigerians in the House, and Banana Island is the third one.
Okay.
Which is in Okoye. And that's the third one. The second one I'm writing at the moment is about the parallels between of immigration between the people that came out of Iran in '79 and the Ghanaians that escaped Jerry Rawlings' regime. Because I see a lot of parallels.
I don't even know who that is, but I've heard that name.
He was
he took over Ghana ultimately at the beginning of the 80s. And was, if you like, a military dictator.
Yeah.
For
Okay.
quite a while. But people have
Mixed
good
feelings.
and bad things to say about him. But there was a generation of people that some of them had to leave Ghana when he took over.
Oh.
And, they came here. Some of them were my relatives. So I'm going to give a voice to that, to that experience.
Wicked.
Fantastic. Ed, I think it's Ed, says had so many questions and didn't get to.
Brent's not
can't
even in
see
the
from
room.
there.
Yeah, he said
but
he had so many
come on
questions. Didn't get to ask Kirsty Brent. Don't worry, Ed. The questions weren't as good as ours.
And you can ask them on the 1st of November. If you come, you can ask Miles all the questions you like. Okay. I've got a gift not for you, Miles. You
Oh, I thought it was for my.
It's for Chinks.
Yeah.
Come on.
Honestly.
Yeah, because I always come bearing gifts. They've already had theirs already.
I haven't.
So I saw this and I thought of you.
Ah.
Sick. Can you read it out,
really
please?
So it says mixed. It's about exploring and celebrating your mixed race identity. This is just a sample of a bigger book, but I thought you would appreciate that.
Oh, thank you so much.
And then also, I'm going to gift you this book as well, The Science of Racism by Dr. Keon West. He's a Black British Jamaican as well, so you might find that interesting.
Oh, thank you
You can add
so
it to your
much.
bookshelf.
I appreciate you so much,
You're welcome.
I didn't expect that. I'm proper caught off guard.
Oh,
I don't know what
that's
to do
okay.
now. I don't know how
Read
to
them.
No, I'm going to read them, definitely.
That's
and I'm
okay.
going to read your book.
Yes.
Yeah,
1,000%.
They sound really.
No, thank you so much.
Read his book first.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah, you're
Give me
welcome.
permission to do that. 'Cause I really wanted to. No, I don't know. I'm blushing now. I feel all weird and cuddly.
Oh my gosh. Don't. Everyone gets one when I come.
No, thank you.
And I noticed, that you sneakily put in the chat there was your birthday.
No, October the 4th.
Okay.
It's because Kofi's, because I think we're Libras. And he's my, we're the same age, 38.
Okay.
And I'm normally like, I don't really meet people bang on my age. It's a bit weird because I grew up hanging around people older than me.
Yeah.
So it's just nice.
Yeah.
And then us being in the same space as well, because typically people, when I grew up, people my age wouldn't be thinking the things I'm thinking.
Yeah.
So the fact that we're in the same place is just like a bonding thing.
Yeah.
I try to make bridges. That's my thing. Do you know what I mean?
All right, people. Like we said, an amazing guest, man. I hope everyone got a lot of benefit from this discussion. Please support and get the book Peckham Rye by Miles Prince. Amazing cover as well. A lot of meaning to it as well. Please share the video as well. It's going to be on YouTube, as you guys know. And let's get it out there, man. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's a great novel, man. It's a great novel. So again, we appreciate you, sir, for coming and joining us, and and sharing your insights. You know what I'm saying? Your experience. It's been a powerful discussion, and I can see from the chat that so many people were edified by it.
Thank you. Great experience.
Yeah. And thank you for being so open, honest, vulnerable, and sharing.
Yeah.
You taught me stuff about me I didn't even know,
Yeah.
which is good, man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.